Good evening, friends. We are live, and it is actually day 90. We have been going live straight every day for 90 days, and we're getting started earlier than we have probably for the last 7 nights for a number of different reasons. But we have been talking about this incredible thing called cryptocurrency and Dogecoin, and covering that because main reason we're covering it is I got into it. I actually not too long ago heard about Dogecoin, did my own research, studying, decided to get a Robinhood account and invest in some Dogecoin, and I didn't really realize how crazy it was and how many people were behind it, and all of the just the community that's behind it, the meme culture, if you will. It has been discounted for years by many, and it's certainly taken on a life of its own. But hey, John, good evening. Good to see you here with me. Hang on here because we're going to do a couple of different things. Going to try to have some fun. Going to talk about tomorrow. Tomorrow's a big day. It's been made a big day, again with the Dogecoin community, Dogecoin Day or Dogecoin 420. It has traditionally been celebrated for other reasons, which I won't bother getting into, but nonetheless, the Doge community has adopted this day, and it also happens to be quote-unquote Elon Musk Day, which is very interesting, of course, because Elon Musk is, made a lot about Dogecoin. He has certainly helped it gain the notoriety that it has now. He's been a proponent of it, and when he tweets about Dogecoin, pretty amazing things normally happen with regards to the volume of Dogecoin that is bought and sold, and then the price typically goes up. So the first thing we want to do is go in and kind of recap the day, although it's 24/7, 365, I think, except for a few holidays. So, but we'll talk about, a 24-hour period, if you will. I started my live stream last night, I think about 11 p.m. Central Standard Time, and we went for 4 hours. So it basically extended technically into the next day, early morning hours. I'm starting a little bit earlier tonight. We'll talk some about today and then talk about what may happen tomorrow. I want to get your thoughts and opinions. So if you're watching the replay, if you're not live, still want to interact with you, still want to have engagement there. So if you didn't get to catch this live, and even if 420 has come and gone, if nothing else, in the comments there, let me know what you thought about the day, whether you were whether you had Dogecoin, whether you maybe sold some of it. Just let us know. So I'm going to switch over to basically, there's a number of websites that you can go to look at the quote-unquote ranking of the at least up to 100 cryptocurrencies. I've got it filtered on 20 because for the purpose of this live stream, I really only care, probably about the top 10. But the story of the day is the fact that Dogecoin is at number 5. It was only 2 days ago, if I have my days correct, certainly a day or two, maybe 3, but it was at 11, then it went up to 10, then it went up to 7, I think. Now, yesterday it dropped down for a while, but now it's back up to number 5, and the market cap is actually, from what I can tell, if I remember the numbers, it's higher than it's also been in a couple of days. It was down to 39 billion. Yesterday, it has gained. I'm just doing rough math here, just visually. It looks like it has increased in market cap in one day 10 billion, which is just mind-boggling to me. And if you look at this, if we look at, and I'm going to get to the comments here in a minute, but if we look at the 24-hour price movement, if you will, look at every other one above it, 1 through 4, they all had a price drop, right, of 3%, almost 4% for Bitcoin, 7 and a quarter for Ethereum, Binance, Coin, 2.5, and then XRP almost 14. And of course, the darling of the day and the star of the cryptocurrency world is, in my opinion, right now, Dogecoin, 16.74 in a 24-hour period and 433 in 7 days. We have to go way over here, but 6,676%. Just mind-boggling. I wrote down some notes, but the interesting thing about the history of Dogecoin is for the majority of 7 years, it was, somewhere around, what was it? I wrote it down here, half a cent, half a penny. And, now we've gone from 5, 7, 8, as high as, and we'll pull that up in a minute, but I think it's 46. Let me look over to my right real quick. So on webull, it says that the 52-week high is 46.51, so 46 cents, almost 46 and a half pennies. It's just crazy. I originally had a good bit of Dogecoin in the 5.8 or so cent average, and I've told this story before, so I'm not going to tell it at length, but I sold at a profit, and with the intent of just buying more, reinvesting that in more Dogecoin, and it would just happen to be that day that it went up to an all-time high, and I missed out on the opportunity to do what I really wanted to do. I stayed out for about a day and a half, had that in Ethereum. Thankfully, I sold the Ethereum before this over the weekend kind of crash, and then so I didn't lose a bunch of money on that. Got back into Dogecoin, unfortunately, but still happy, got back in at about 35 cents. So, selfishly, I would obviously like to see it go down for a while so that I can get more, not for any other reason. Would not wish that on anyone to quote unquote lose money, especially if they're looking to take profit. But for us hodlers, I think all of us would like to have an opportunity to buy more at a lower price. But if that never happened, if it never ever went down to those levels again, I'd still be very happy. Most definitely. So we're going to get to some of the comments. Sean, hey, thanks for joining us again. Yes, it's been a big day, big evening. It's just, I think, and this was mentioned last night on this stream, that, a lot of the anticipation of 420 might actually happen today. And I think that it has, settled down a little bit, but it's been as high as, I think 41 today. So I watched it at one point where it was, hovering at 39, 39.9, and then it would go back down to 38, but then it finally pushed over the edge and made it to 40 and then 41. So that was pretty exciting. So who even knows what's going to happen tomorrow? Here's one really cool thing that I read today, and we talked about this a little bit yesterday as potentially a catalyst, and I guess it's possible that it could not happen, but from everything I know, it is going to happen. Webull has said that they're going to roll out Dogecoin to all of their users by, I believe, and I'll pull up the article. I think I have it here in a minute. By 11 or 12 a.m., so 11 a.m. or noon Eastern time, roll out Dogecoin to all of their users. So I think that's super amazing. It would be also really super amazing if Coinbase made the same announcement. Obviously, Webull has beat them to the punch, it would seem, unless Coinbase has been holding, all this back, and they're just going to just plop it out there. But Webull, I'm getting more and more excited actually about that platform. I only wish that they would have Cardano on there and XRP. That would help. But yeah, my next purchase of Dogecoin, I'll do it on the Webull platform. I'll probably live stream that just to capture it for posterity, quote unquote. So I'm pretty excited about that. Hey, Devious Grunt Alliance. Hey, welcome. I think this may be your first time on a stream here. So if not, I apologize, but super happy that you're here. We normally don't get started until it's been like 11 o'clock at night. So I joke that I'm the night shift with regards to, streaming about Dogecoin, and I'm sure there are other streamers that are, because obviously I'm kind of in the zone, quote unquote, when I start streaming, because I'm pretty focused, so I don't know what else is going on. And our streams have been lasting anywhere between 2.5 hours, 3.5 hours, a couple of them 4 hours. So it's been fun. My stream's probably a little bit different than others, but I do appreciate you being here. I'll ask you if I can, if you haven't, if you would subscribe and turn on notifications. That would be amazing. It would mean a lot to me. Thanks for joining. I hope that you will dialogue with us. Let me know. Let us know. Do you have Dogecoin now? What are you expecting to happen tomorrow? Much prefer this to be a dialogue versus a monologue, as they say. Hey, Sean, just waiting for Slim Jim and Elon Musk to do their thing. Yeah. I'm going to pull it up in a minute, but did you guys see that Snickers also decided to jump in, and they said, hey, this is just a GIF, and kind of thing, but they basically put out on Twitter a Snickers bar with some branding on there with with Dogecoin. So I'm going to pull it up here for a second, or here real quick, and let you guys see it. You probably have already seen it, but I thought it was cool, and I thought it would be good to save a link for it. So here it is. Guess what day it is? Doge Day, tomorrow. So this was posted today, and it says not an actual Snickers pack, just a cool Doge GIF. But wouldn't it be cool if they imagine the kind of maybe the resale value of this if they actually produced some of these and they were out in the stores and all that tomorrow? That would be pretty cool. I don't know how much of a catalyst it would be, and it'll be interesting to see if they post any more tomorrow. But yeah, Slim Jim has been after it for a while. So I think they, as we mentioned last night, they have been really smart about jumping on the bandwagon, using it to grow their social media engagement, number of followers, impressions. All things are up with regards to their stuff. So, hey, Charlie, good evening. Thanks for joining us. Glad you're here, Devious Grunt Alliance. Thank you. Glad that first time is better than never at all. So appreciate you joining us. Yep, saw the Snickers thing. So curious to just start kind of, I've got some other things to show and talk about, but one of the things that I'll just talk about a little bit longer, isn't it just honestly mind-blowing that Dogecoin is the basically the fifth largest cryptocurrency in the world, with a market cap, up sometimes in the 40 billion, sometimes in the 50. It comes and goes a little bit, but that's just crazy. I mean, ahead of Cardano and a host of others that have higher prices and all kinds of things. And again, actually showing a positive overall increase, while the two biggest ones basically crashed. And about that as well, that had come up in I don't think it was last night's live stream, but the night before that, there was this rumor, and I think that's ultimately what it's turned out to be, just a rumor, that the Treasury Department was looking into some institutions, I'll just say, for money laundering. I think it turns out that was just a rumor, and I don't know if it was, you can only assume that it was done on purpose to basically manipulate the market. I have no idea if that's true, but as you guys probably know, I think before that crash, if we can call it that Bitcoin was in the 62,000 range, Ethereum was in the 2,500 low, medium 2,400 range, and they took a beating, a killing. Bitcoin went down, I think somewhere close to $9,000, and now it's back up to around 57. So I'm sure there were people that got back in, but I wrote it down. Let's see here. It was said that 300 billion in market cap basically just evaporated over the weekend. So pretty crazy what that shows. And I think that's one thing that we all need to be careful about, as super exciting as Dogecoin is. I think it's certainly helpful to be to have the long-term view, because to try to time some of these things is really difficult, because something like that might actually be able to happen to Dogecoin. And if you happen to be asleep or something, you could wake up the next day and not know what to do, or it could be happening during the day while you're actually watching it, and you could potentially just knee-jerk reaction, or not be patient and get out and basically just lose your shirt just because you didn't wait for it to correct. So there are some things obviously that end up being permanent, but a lot of times these downturns recover. Sometimes it takes longer than others, but they typically do recover. Taking XRP spot next. Yes, that would be super amazing. If we go and look back at this again, let me see where I had it. I'm going to pull back up the rankings, and I think I'm having a little bit of issues with my internet, so you guys will have to be patient with me if it's a problem. But yeah, if we look at this again, so XRP is at 55 million. And this is interesting because let me make sure if it's sorted by market cap, because this shows, and I realize that this could change a little bit at any point in time. This is, I'm assuming, real time. So let me sort this one more time. So it does look like we have gone down a little bit, but look how close it is. It's super close, but nonetheless, yes, let's get up there and be number 4. It wouldn't take that much to do it. I think Dogecoin has the momentum and the community behind it that it's very possible that it could end up tomorrow being number 4. And wouldn't that be just amazing? Here's another thing that I think is kind of interesting to look at, right? If we look at these last 7-day graphs, and of course they're really small and all that, but if you look at these 7-day graphs, look at, Bitcoin, and again, a lot of this was over that weekend period, and of course we can see some recovery here, and then another little drop, but look at Bitcoin and Ethereum, and then now let's look at Dogecoin. Look at that. I mean, generally, with some ups and downs, but a upward, an upward trend, which is just amazing. And it's the only one, and I don't know much about Tether, but look what happened to it. It's trading sideways now. I have no idea what much about it. Not saying it's good or bad. I just don't know. I can only focus on so many things. But I'm super stoked, if I can use that term, about the fact that I found out about Dogecoin, thankfully sooner rather than later. It's crazy how Doge is still maintaining despite the market being down currently. Yes, and I've got an article that I'm going to bring up in a minute that kind of attests to that. And I don't have their names memorized yet, but one of the co-creators, if you will, of Dogecoin, went to Twitter to kind of, speak up, if you will, for Dogecoin. And I thought it was a really good, some really good words that he shared. Actually, I'll pull that up now. Let me find it first, and then I will bring it up on screen. But I thought it was really good. And when it looks like I may not actually have it, but it was really, really good. Well, I'm going to pull something else up instead. But this was what I was talking about with regards to Webull. So Webull Crypto to offer Dogecoin to customers April 20th, Dogeday. Dogecoin has been one of the hottest cryptocurrencies in 2021. We all know that. It says Webull is beta testing. Most of us know that as well. But for crypto customers and plans on rolling the cryptocurrency out to all customers on April 20th. That's amazing. Webull CEO Anthony Denier told Benzinga Monday the trading platform plans to offer Dogecoin to its cryptocurrency customers. I actually got it yesterday. I've not bought any Dogecoin on Webull yet because it's been hovering again 38, 39, 40, and and I'm going to wait for a dip because I think obviously today it's done very well. Tomorrow it's probably going to do very well as well. So and if it never takes a dip, that's fine as well. I'll pick a point where I decide to get back in, but I'm going to hold at this point with my current position and look to get in a little bit more later. Dogecoin, they say Dogecoin was the most requested cryptocurrency that we add to the platform far and away. No surprise there, right? Demand for Dogecoin has been strong from beta testers, and the company anticipates it will be active when rolled out to all customers. It's very, very possible. So this could be a catalyst. It's very, very possible that that for all of those disgruntled Robinhood users, which I get it, I understand. For all those disgruntled Robinhood users, there are some people that are principled enough that they're like, I'll just wait. I'm not going to do any more on Robinhood or whatever. They may say, okay, I'm never going to go to Costco again, whatever it is. It's very possible that people that had been using Robinhood have been waiting to buy more or whatever. And, tomorrow when everyone can buy a Dogecoin on Webull, there could be an uptick, if you will, in volume, which typically means that the price is going to go up. It may be. I'm not, what I'm about to say, I'm neutral on someone selling, if you will, to take a profit, or holding and only buying on the dip, and that's basically it. I'm actually okay with either. I think if you can time it, obviously setting aside the tax implication, potentially setting aside that for a moment, if you can take a profit and increase your position and basically be, not be out of pocket anything or not having to bring in other external finances, then that's a good day as far as I'm concerned. It's also equally a good day if you sell and pay off a student loan, or if you sell and pay off your house. It gets to be your decision, individual decision. I'll only speak to that specifically when someone asks me their opinion and gives me enough input with regards to their goals. Then I'm happy to, tell them what I would possibly do in that situation. But I'm happy to say that I think either one of those are perfectly fine. You get to decide. Okay, yeah, maybe it is supposed to maintain one. There's another one that's based on the US dollar or something like that, which I really don't understand, because it would seem like the concept with cryptocurrencies in general is to not be impacted by the grossly inflationary process when we just print money. You guys probably have heard this. What is the percentage? It's a lot. It's like 1/4, or maybe it's even more. And if you guys know it, you can tell me. But 40% of we've printed in the U.S. 40% of all the currency that had ever been printed previously. So we've got some serious problems, in my opinion. Yep. And so maybe, here's the I would argue, here's the good thing about maybe Coinbase not listing it yet. And there's a couple of good things possibly. I will probably never buy Dogecoin on Coinbase. Why would I do that when webull is basically free? So Coinbase, from what I understand, has fees and various other things. And so they probably, that's who Tesla used, from what I understand, to get their, 1.5 billion or 1.4 billion in Bitcoin. They used Coinbase, from what I understand. So I know they work certainly with big organizations, institutions. They have custody type services, and they have, I read, over 12 different systems for different blockchains. And so, they're dealing obviously in some really large transactions. They're the largest, at least in the United States, as far as an exchange for cryptocurrency. So I'm not at all saying they're not a good place to transact, but at the level that I'm buying and selling things, that webull is, or even Robinhood for that matter, is much more attractive to me because I'm not paying anything. Now, I can't prove this, but there are those that probably have more access and more time than I do to information that would, swear that Robinhood basically cheats you, that they, basically go out and with this bid and ask, I guess, and find what they're selling to you cheaper and take a cut along with the fraction of a penny that they get from whoever actually, truly processes that for you. So, and I know a lot of people are concerned that they don't at least have the option of putting their coins in their own wallet. So, Robinhood is working on one, and they're probably working on one because I'm sure they have this sense that they're going to lose customers at some point, more than they've already lost if they don't get that wallet, set up. So. This whole wallet thing is really one of my next things to investigate. And, I know enough about wallets to know kind of the different options. I've just not decided for me which one I want to do. There's obviously pros and cons, I would say, to all of those, because if you have a, what they call a, well, I'm trying to think now, it just escaped me, but basically like a, little card, if you will, that stores it all, and there's a USB where you can update it, but it's completely off of the internet, that type of thing. That is, arguably, presumably the most secure. But if it ends up burning up in a fire, that type of thing, unless you can back it up. I don't know if you could back it up, but if you can't, then you could have literally hundreds of thousands of dollars, $1 million, even more, just disappear. So I'm a little concerned about going that route, but I'm equally concerned about a system where someone else is basically holding that for me, even though it's mine, but holding it on their platform. So I don't know that there's a best answer. It really boils down to preference and your which risk are you most comfortable with, because there's arguably risk regardless of the approach you take. Hey, Alexander, good evening. Thanks for joining us. Hope you've had a good day. What did I tell you about the anticipatory market for Doge? Yep, I already was saying that. I was mentioning the fact that was brought up yesterday, and you were right on. You were right on. And the question that I have is with this anticipatory move, it'll be interesting to see overnight, what happens. I think overnight, I've come to the conclusion that although I'm sure there are variations at times to the patterns, it would seem that the pattern is that it goes up in the early morning hours U.S. time, when Europe and Asia and other parts of the world are basically waking up and coming online, and so they drive some volume, and then I think it tends to kind of go down for a while the U.S. is waking up first part of the morning, and then it seems to generally speaking, start kind of working its way back up again. So I guess if you could stay up 24/7, or use some of this kind of programmed ways of buying and selling, and you might be able to do that on Webull. I don't think you can do that really practically on Robinhood. Then you might want to quote unquote day trade crypto. You're never going to get it exactly right, but if you buy on some kind of dip and sell on, somewhere along the curve of the high, then that's one way to do it. That's not really going to be my approach. That can be fun, I would argue, but as far as really, doing that every day, for one, I just don't have the time. But hey, Pangeran, good evening or good afternoon. Honestly, I'm not sure. It's probably pretty early in the morning because you're in Pakistan, I believe, right? But thanks for joining us. We're going to have a good night. I'm looking forward to interacting with everyone and seeing what we can come up with regards to what is tomorrow going to be like. And feel free to share as much as you want or as little as you want, right? It's I want to obviously respect you guys with regards to what you want to say and what you don't want to say. In my state, can't use Webull yet. So, Charlie, if I remember right, are you in New York? So isn't it funny? It's like, so I can't use Binance, for example. I can't use Binance. I'm in Texas. I tried, I can't, but I can use Robinhood. I can use Webull. I have Coinbase, so I would use Coinbase if it was my only option, for sure. I would. So, if I had experienced some of the problems that others had on Robinhood, I'm sure I would be more tempted to use Coinbase if it was the only other option, even though I had to pay transaction fees. So. You're going offline hardware wallet, waiting for it to arrive. There is a multi-word paraphrase. I heard about that, the multi-word to recover in case of fire damage, etc. So let me ask, so does that mean that basically, since with all this blockchain stuff, that information is also basically on in essence, a number of other peer-to-peer computers, and with the right phrase, then you can just recover it. So that's actually pretty amazing. I'm curious if you're willing to tell us what, do you have to pay for that device? Is there any kind of monthly fee for it? How does it work? Share the link if you would, and if you want to. What company did you use? I'm actually interested in that. I actually heard that today, and I didn't put two and two together. I heard about the 20, I think it's like a 20-word phrase or something like that. So I guess if you keep that a couple of different places, and to make sure that you don't forget, then that's a good way to go. I sold 40, gonna get back in at nightly dip tonight. Hopefully I can get in around 36, 37. That's cool. So Alexander, I'm sorry I've slept since then, but was it you that was talking last night about basically doing this and, getting, kind of incrementally 1,000 more here, 1,000 more there? Because I actually think that if you have the time, and can do that and kind of have some nerves, if you will, I would certainly not be the one to criticize that approach. If you're, ultimately gaining more Dogecoin, especially if your assumption is that, and especially if you still want some kind of long-term, amazing final exit point, as long as your, average cost doesn't end up being just pennies from the next high, then it's all good. At some point, I would think that you would want to stop your, that process if you wanted to then start accumulating, to be able to take more profit. But that's cool. Steady at 50 within 12 hours. Okay, John, you called it. We'll have to come back here tomorrow and see if that's what happened. So John's calling 50 cents, and 50 cents should do. I think there's been some there's been some memes about 50 cent as well with Dogecoin. But yep, John, you called it. So if it gets to 50 within the next 12 hours, you get the credit for the call. And that's going to be a historic event. I'm super tempted to just keep the stream going or start another one before I go to bed so that it could capture it for posterity under my channel, if you will, because on YouTube, you guys may or may not know, but it will not save a live stream that's over 11 hours and 59 minutes. So if you go over 11 hours and 59 minutes, you can stream longer, I believe, but the video will not be saved. So I've been tempted to do that a couple of other nights, but with a 4-hour-long stream and, wanting at least 8 hours of sleep, I was too lazy to set an alarm to get up earlier. So Charlie, yep, New York State. Hey, it's time to move. I'm joking. I love New York, by the way. I've not really visited upstate New York so much, but I actually do love visiting New York City, going to the, Broadway and all the variety of amazing foods and all that kind of stuff. So New York has been through a lot, I know, with COVID. So I'm certainly sympathetic. I live in Texas, and it's not been as bad. So anyway, yeah, I hope things are settling in there and getting somewhat back to normal. Sorry, Alexander, I skipped over you here. I do it when I have a feel for it, but I've been burned some. Yeah. Did you already tell me, Alexander? I'm curious if you don't mind telling us what platform do you use, and do you ever set? And just curious, if you don't mind sharing, do you set like limit buy and limit sell type things, or do you just wait and follow and watch the charts in real time and just make really quick market decisions. I'm really curious. Dogeday make new brand economic. Yeah. Remind me, Pangerin, do you have some do you have Dogecoin now in your portfolio? And I'm also curious if what platform is available to you there in Pakistan. I know there's a lot. Actually, there's a lot of exchanges. Didn't realize there were so many. And of course, with literally within one country with different states having different regulations, it's certainly helpful that there's enough, for most of us, enough options that we have one way or another to do it. Tyler, maybe it may very well be. Doge especially, right, has definitely a lot of momentum behind it. It has been trending on Twitter, Reddit, that's one of the things that I'm going to pull up here before the night's over. But the Dogecoin Reddit thread or group or whatever you want to call it, and I don't remember the speed with which it got there, but it's now 1.4 million, roughly 1.4 million members in that group. So can you imagine the number of messages that must be going through there on any one day? And there's a lot of good resources there, by the way. I don't know how many of you use Reddit. I don't use it as much. I mean, it's hard to keep up with Twitter and Facebook to a lesser degree with regards to Dogecoin at least, and Instagram. And I help businesses with social media and things, so I have to keep my keep my feet in all of those different things. So it's really hard. And then there's a lot of the other financial channels, a lot of the other streamers that are focusing on Dogecoin right now have Patreon and Discord servers, and that's all great, and maybe I'll get there one of these days. But my first goal, I'll mention since it's just kind of naturally coming up, is to get to 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours. So any help you want to give me, that'd be great with regards to subscribing if you haven't, turning on notifications, following them on Twitter, all the things. Anything that you're willing to do is super, super appreciated. You guys are a great audience, super engaging, so I couldn't ask for a better crowd. Going to be a couple of sleepless nights. Yeah, it's truly crazy what this community basically puts you through. It's fun, but I also want it to pay off. I'm going to be honest, right? I mean, I like fun, like the next person, but with family and work and all the things. I do what I'm doing tonight and the last 7 nights that I've done it because it's obviously something I've gotten into myself. I don't really typically stream about things that I'm not involved in myself or interested in, that type of thing. This certainly falls into that category, but it can be, let's be honest, it can be exhausting. And yes, we lose sleep sometimes. So I said it once and it sold my coin at lower rate than I put. Yeah, I actually used it just a couple of times, and I was watching the ticker, if you will, or the real time, and it seemed to take it longer than it should for it to execute. So I was like, is this going to happen? Is it going to actually happen? So it did happen. But that's the one thing that I like about what I'm seeing, at least with the webull interface. I'm going to pull that up just for a minute, just because, and we can kind of watch it while I've got the picture-in-picture. For those of you, I've pulled this up several other nights, so probably many of you have seen it, but I love this interface, and I'm still learning how to use it. But, it over here, I can obviously see the prices it's going, and I can click on, the the previous close, they're right there, and that put it into the limit price. I can say day, or well, I guess that's the only option I have. Let me see, unlock trading for one. Well, I'm not going to do that. Anyway, it's a really, really cool interface. I can turn on this, what's called a grid, and then I could have 2 to 4, I guess technically up to 9. So I can put in here, what am I going to put in here? I'm going to actually put in Tesla, because I want to see that as well. Obviously, that's not going to be helpful right now other than to look at it in review. But of course, during trading day, I could be looking at a couple of different stocks at the same time. And then I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, so it's not a demo, quote unquote, of webull. But when I click on the other grid, then my quote section over here becomes active for that particular currency or equity. And then now, of course, I switched again to Tesla. Tesla, by the way, look at this. Alexander, this is what you should be day trading, my friend. And I'm kidding. But look at the swing here. The low of 691. If you had been able to get in on the low and sell somewhere close to the high, that's what, $30 or roughly $30. Now, of course, you would have to buy quite a few, maybe to make it worth it, or whereas you can use your Dogecoin and already have that in your portfolio. So, but nonetheless, pretty cool. All right, let's get back to the comments and see what we've got going on here. So, I've thought about making it look like I moved. Yeah, I mean, I've heard people joke about having, or using a P.O. box or something like that, but for some of these platforms, you can't use a P.O. box. You've got to use an actual physical address. So, I feel for you. I really do. Hey, Manny, good to see you here tonight, my friend. Happy early Doge day. Yes, we're going to pull up a few other articles here in a minute and look at just a little bit of Twitter, maybe just to get some buzz going, maybe get some other folks on the stream here just to spice it up a little bit. No offense, everyone here is great. The more the merrier, though, right? Okay, that's interesting. Doge on webull is much lower than on Robinhood by almost a cent. Okay, I've heard that. I mentioned that earlier in the stream that I had heard that, and that's crazy. I mean, that doesn't, if anyone was to actually do enough data capture and show that in a way that a lot of people would see it, I would think that would be really bad for Robinhood. But I've heard of others complain about that. I have. It's summer here, or almost summer here, so I don't know why I have a long sleeve shirt on. I think I'm gonna take my long sleeve shirt off, but I can't wait till SpaceX become public. Yeah, it's starting at 50. Hold on just a second. So is that, I'll have to admit, I don't know, is that already being shared out there as far as the fact that they do plan on going public? Yeah. Oh, and since we're talking about public, another thing and we're talking mostly about Dogecoin, so I'm going to diverge just for a minute because it's still related to the cryptocurrency world, if you will. I know that by most people's projections, estimates, all the things, that Coinbase, that IPO didn't turn out the way that they had hoped it would. I think they were, many were thinking it would be a $600 a share stock kind of thing. But Kathy Wood, which is a well-known fund manager, if you will, now. Controversial in some ways, but very successful. Her ETFs have done really well. They bought a lot of Coinbase and sold a portion of their Tesla. Now, Tesla is still their top, by far their top equity in most of their funds, but nonetheless, they're very positive on where Coinbase is going to go. And so for some, arguably Coinbase is a way to, if you will, diversify without having to own all the individual cryptocurrencies, or even the top 10, let's say, to be able to diversify, to still be into the cryptocurrency world without, again, having to own them all. And, the good thing is, in one sense, is, whether Bitcoin, for example, is doing good or doing bad, whether Ethereum is doing good or bad, they handle a large percentage of the transactions going on in that space. And since they have actual transaction cost, then, they're making money both ways, right? And so as long as that is something that, as long as they're providing a service, even though they're charging for it, that large institutions, the wealthy and those buying large chunks, and there are obviously others even here on the stream that use it, but as long as that model works for them, I think that I agree, that that's not a bad investment either. But yeah, SpaceX is going to be cool. I know we all know, right, that they won, it's either 1.9 or 2.9 billion dollar contract to basically land people on the moon again. I believe that's what they're going to be doing. And, that's huge. So there's no separating probably anytime soon, which is good, right? Elon Musk and, Dogecoin kind of have a little marriage there, if you know. Yeah, just float you a few million. When I make a few million first, I guess we'll figure out a way to do that. So, I'm going to switch away here for a minute, and as soon as I find the article, I'll bring it up. Do want to show a few other things. I'm sure everyone saw today the unfortunate news that that there was a Tesla car that wrecked somewhere there in Texas, caught on fire. They couldn't turn it off because they couldn't put out the fire because the battery kept reigniting. And so that's one thing, I guess, that is still a problem with the technology of electronic cars, because honestly, the answer that Tesla, and I'm sure any other electric car manufacturer, would have is to say, just let it burn out, which when you've potentially got people in a car, that's not the answer that you want to hear. But here's what I heard. And again, you guys probably heard this. Maybe you have your opinions about it, and you're more than welcome to share it. But there was no one in the driver's seat, apparently. There was someone in the front passenger seat and someone in the back seat. So there were two people. Apparently they had not bought the full autonomous, driving kind of thing. So who knows why in the world what were they doing if they did not have the autonomous driving package, quote unquote? It's really crazy, because somehow or another they know. And apparently Elon Musk, had a press conference, which I didn't watch, and he said that it was not on. So here is an interesting website that I found, which lists some of the top companies accepting Dogecoin. Of course, a lot of these are not necessarily household names, but nonetheless, more and more of them are coming up. And the reality is more and more companies, merchants, that type of thing, are accepting Dogecoin and other cryptocurrencies for that matter, the more it becomes a everyday kind of occurrence, then obviously the more volume there's going to be, and that should, for us investors, drive up the price. As I've mentioned multiple times, I personally, and that could change, but I'm personally not interested in using Dogecoin, or really honestly any other cryptocurrency at this point. Again, things could change. At this point, I'm not interested in using it to daily buy goods and services, because I'm more interested at this point in time in accumulating wealth. But thankfully, there are, I think, a lot of people that do want to use it that way. So it's a perfect marriage, if you will, right? There's a lot of people that want to use it as an everyday type of means of buying and selling goods and services, and a lot of us that want to invest, accumulate, hodl, and one day sell and become millionaires, right? But anyway, this is a list of a number of companies that are accepting it. Now, this Pro Doge I've heard a little bit about, which is kind of interesting. It is a non-custodial wallet and platform for global business. Anyone with a Pro Doge mobile app can get started sending payments, promoting their business, and selling their goods and services. This actually sounds kind of cool, but let's just assume that you're a small company, but you have you're in a niche, but that niche puts you right square in the middle of the cryptocurrency community, those that would use it. And so I'm gonna have to look into this more, but it's pretty cool. The other thing that I looked into, and let me see if I can find that article as well. It's a little interesting what's actually going on, and I'm honestly a little bit confused about the Mavericks, for example. And they're talking about the fact that they take Dogecoin now, and that's actually true, but it's through basically a credit card processor that has their claim to fame is that they do that with cryptocurrencies. But I'm just going to read through this article some, and then want to point out that they're using again BitPay, and I'm not convinced or certain that the Mavericks actually retain the Dogecoin or the Bitcoin for that matter. What I believe happens is you or me can buy the tickets or buy the merchandise using BitPay, using our Dogecoin, and then they have an exchange fee, if you will, an exchange price, and then the merchant, that being the Mavericks, they get US dollars. I think that's actually the way that it works. But let's read through some of this article here. We know that he's been supportive of cryptocurrencies and shares that with Elon Musk. Yes. Cuban commented on the 400%. So this is a pretty recent article, right? April 19th. Or it was edited. It was published at 8:54, and then they edited it for some reason. Looks like a few minutes later. 400% price gain over the past week, stating that while he has no idea what it means, supply and demand is undefeated. That's actually a pretty big statement as far as I'm concerned. So it will find its level. In other words, he's not concerned about it. The billionaire investor initially bought Dogecoin for the entertainment value, and Forbes initially reported that he purchased it a few dollars worth, and it was for his 11-year-old son. And this is an interesting quote. He says, "If I had to choose between buying a lottery ticket and Dogecoin, I would buy Dogecoin, but please don't ask me to choose between it and anything else." So at least initially, and it sounds like he's changing his thoughts on this a little bit, he really didn't distinguish it too much from a lottery ticket, but I think he's changing a little bit. But since then, the price of Doge has been driven up by strong community support. And that's a big one, strong community support. You guys are a part of that. Thank you for being a part of this stream. I'm completely humbled. And comments by influencers and famous investors, Elon Musk, Snoop Dogg, Kiss frontman Gene Simmons, also the guy that's on, the Food Network or whatever, that goes to all these places and eats just a ton of food and, rates their food and all that kind of stuff. But as Dogecoin is driven up over the past few months, Cuban announced in March that the NBA franchise would be accepting Dogecoin as a payment for tickets and merchandise. So one of the things that I know, having done a little bit of research prior to that, probably 18 months to 2 years prior to that, they were already accepting Bitcoin and a few others, again, through BitPay. So I'm still looking into this because I'm super, super curious, honestly, if they're retaining the cryptocurrency or if they're just getting US dollars for it. And my assumption, honestly, right now is that they're getting US dollars. Not that it matters. I just want to fully, in a sense, kind of report on what's really going on. But the move led Cuban to proclaim that they were the largest Dogecoin merchant in the world after receiving more than 20,000 Dogecoins a couple of days after making the announcement. So that's honestly, if we do the math, it's not a ton of dollars, right? So, but it probably honestly right now doesn't take much to be the largest Dogecoin merchant because there's not a lot of doing it, but it has to start somewhere. And what better place to start than with one of the richest men out there? Of course, Elon Musk is the richest man in the world. I don't know how close the second man is. I'm guessing it's Jeff Bezos, but I have not kept up with that. And I know Bill Gates is there somewhere. But while Cuban may be unsure as to why the price of Doge has gone up 400%, the entrepreneur, along with other early investors, will stand to benefit from its meteoric rise. Now, here's an interesting thing. Let me take a drink first, and I'm going to comment on this. So this statement is confusing to me only in the sense that because I don't know whether they're actually keeping the cryptocurrency and putting it in a corporate treasury wallet kind of thing or something like that, or if they're just getting U.S. dollars. If they're getting U.S. dollars, I don't see what they honestly have to benefit from it other than just, it's possible. There is one other thing that I read. So it's possible that they're getting incremental sales that they wouldn't otherwise get, because I have heard that transaction fees are less this way, and especially for international customers, this can be beneficial to them because they don't have to pay some of the larger transaction fees, since the Mavericks are in the U.S. and people coming from other parts of the world. So, not sure yet. But let's get back to the comments. I know some more have come in. So, Tyler, do you think BTC is pulling back and getting ready to hit a new high soon? It seems like most cryptos are following BTC except Doge. Yeah, the general rule that most analysts would say is that, with exceptions, of course, but most of the altcoins kind of parallel with Bitcoin. I mean, it was at 62, I think, and change, before the weekend crash, if I can use that term, or, the dive, if you will. And I think it went down to as low as 51, but now it's back up to 57. So it seems like it's back on a course to get back to where it was. And that doesn't surprise me if it's true that the rumor about the U.S. Treasury looking into organizations that had been using, Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies as a way to launder money, if it turns out that was only a rumor and not true, then, obviously people buying Bitcoin for the most part believe that it is truly a quote unquote digital gold, a store of value. And there are many that believe that it's eventually going to be as high as $200,000 a coin. So I would, I plan on owning at least some fractional shares of Bitcoin sooner rather than later. I honestly wish that I had the extra funds, if you will, or flexibility with the portfolio that I have right now to shift some of it to Bitcoin when it was at 51 fractional shares. And that again is another thing that is I'm trying to think of the right way to say this, that is a difficulty with me with Robinhood, for example, right? Because with Robinhood you can buy fractional coins. Well, I'll take that back, because I thought on Webull that it was across the board. What I believe is true, that on Webull you can't buy fractional shares of a equity stock, but you can buy fractional shares of a cryptocurrency. So that being said, probably should have used Webull to buy, however much I could into Bitcoin when it was in the low 50s, because if it's going to 200,000, you're going to get less of it if you don't own the whole coin, but you're still going to get, as a percentage of whatever you've invested, that massive gain. Now, that being said, if Dogecoin is going to go where a lot of us think it's going to go, you can ride that train and you'll be perfectly well taken care of. But it would not be a bad thing to be diversified and hold some Bitcoin and Ethereum. There was an article today by Yahoo Finance, and I might have captured it, and I'll pull it up maybe in a minute, but they pretty much just, poo-pooed on Dogecoin, basically saying that it wasn't even going to exist much longer. But of course, what do you think was going to continue to exist? Bitcoin and Ethereum, and they're probably right about that, but they're also equally, in my mind, wrong about Dogecoin. And I do want to find, before the stream is over, the article by one of the two founders of Dogecoin, because he talks about, in essence, I'll summarize it in essence, the fact that people, it's supply and demand, and what people want is what determines the value of a particular coin. And there are those that talk about, quote unquote, Bitcoin, having only a limited supply. But when he said, basically, when you look at the whole cryptocurrency market, then it's unlimited supply, because there's already thousands and new ones coming along potentially every day. So, I think some of these arguments get way deeper than they honestly need to be. There's probably more practicality to a lot of this, and some of this is probably more simple than we allow it to be sometimes, with regards to, how we should invest. Now, we can obviously, get philosophical about things, and nothing wrong with that, but sometimes that's more about us sharing our thoughts and ideas versus reality and what is really important with regards to what decision are you going to make, right? Do you believe that Bitcoin's going to be around and be at 200,000? Do you believe that Dogecoin is going to be around and be, up to 10 or 20 dollars a coin? And if you believe those things, then that informs the decisions that you're going to make, basically. Any predictions on Doge price on 420? Well, I think it was Alexander, and I'd have to scroll back, but I think Alexander has already called 50 cents within the next 12 hours. So I'll also ask you, Brandon, what you think. Why don't you give us your prediction? And that's all these are going to be, right? I'm not a financial advisor or an accountant or any of those kinds of things. I do have a finance degree from Texas Christian University, back in the day, but we're just talking about the things that interest us, and for education and and entertainment purposes. I just have to say that, unfortunately, at least once in the stream. But that being said, I'll give you my prediction, and I'll just make it a little bit different than Alexander's, because he's probably got a pretty good thought there already with 50. But I think it depends on, there's really two aspects to this. As it was also mentioned, a lot of the reaction, if you will, to tomorrow may already be baked into what was done today. So I'm looking at it right now. It's 39. Let's just while I talk, let's pull this up and just kind of watch it. Let me get back onto Doge, and then I'm going to get rid of this other one there. So again, the 24-hour close, today's high was at 43 and the low was at 32. Let's talk about that briefly for a minute, and then I'll come back. This is a viable thing, which again, some are already doing, where, if you're able to watch this and can react, you could have bought at 32 and sold somewhere at 43, and then, sell at some kind of a dip, even if you're only taking a 5-cent profit, and depending on how many you actually have, then either take that money off the table if you choose. Again, you get to choose. But if your goal is to get more Dogecoin, then you could just reinvest that and grow your stake in Dogecoin. So, but back to the question of what I think it's going to get to. So let's assume, of course, sorry, I got something in my eye. Slim Jim is going to announce something, right? Where we already kind of know what they're going to do. They're releasing a product basically that's got Dogecoin branding on it. We know that Webull is going to roll out the ability for their whole user base to be able to buy Dogecoin tomorrow by 11 Eastern. Who knows? Maybe they rolled it out earlier, and I don't even know what the batch is that they're doing it basically slowly. So there could be thousands or hundreds of thousands of people that already have it. I'm sure there are going to be people that are going to try to time this, but at some point there's going to be buyers and sellers, and the volume's just going to kick up. So just to be different than Alexander, I'm going to say that I'll pick the high, right? I don't know how long it will stay at the high, but I'm going to say 55 cents. Okay. So it's so super hard to know. What we can say is that it went up 20 plus cents in one day, based on, I think, a tweet and a few other inputs. So with the community that we have behind Dogecoin, it doesn't necessarily take a lot. It takes a few things to get it up there. Okay, now I heard that as well, Tyler. I don't know if I don't honestly think it's the only reason. It could be honestly even the primary reason. But I also heard that a mining company in China, had an outage, and I know that happened. But I do believe also that this rumor of investigation was a big deal. But here's an interesting thing that you bring up. I saw that a lot more than I saw anything about, a mining company in China that lost power. So I'm not saying it didn't have an impact, and it may have been the thing that was the biggest impact on it. So I think it'll hit 50 and then drop off as people sell. Okay, so maybe we also need to pick the close, right? Let's just say, for the 24-hour period, if it makes it to 50, where's it going to go back to? 32, 33, 35. What do you think? I'm going to keep it right here for a second. I'm going to go here onto Twitter, if you guys don't mind, and just send out a tweet, letting people know that we're live, and maybe we can get a few other people on just to, again, spice it up a little bit. You guys are great. Just keep the comments, questions coming up, and it's all good. Actually, I'll just bring this up and you guys can kind of watch the Twitter feed with me. Right now, I'm looking at the top ones. Doge is moving fast up. So this is, I'm sure a lot of you guys know probably about Matt Wallace. He is killing it with, he just broke 100,000 subscribers couple of days ago. Now it's almost, I think, to 129,000 on YouTube. So congratulations, Matt. I think that's awesome if you happen to see this. It's an interesting, Dogecoin is snowballing into a cultural phenomenon. That's for sure. Brands are accepting it as payment. We just saw that. Exchanges are listing it. So webull is, Coinbase probably will. Memes are being made of it. I mean, this is, in my opinion, can't be underestimated. There's all kinds of creativity with regards to, GIFs and pictures and videos that are being edited in the Doge, the put on the head of the people. You got Slim Jim and Snickers, and I heard that maybe even Milky Way candy bar or something like that had also done something about it. I didn't see it, but I'm gonna just let the people know here that we're live. Come join us, right? We need more people just because it's fun. All right. Now, this is an interesting thing. I don't remember the actual one, but I think the primary developer, at least, behind Cardano, however you say it, and again, I think that's a good one for people to get into. There's, from what I understand of it, a ton of practical uses of it. So it's got a really, really bright future, and it's still, in the dollar range. But he, blasted this one other cryptocurrency because, unlike most of these other quote unquote projects, cryptocurrency projects that have their source as open source, this particular company has patented their code, so it can't be copied, if you will. So Progressive should have done something with Dogecoin, right? Buy Doge, how funny. I like that one too. That's really cool. All right, we got to retweet that one out because that's really good. If you guys are up for it, you can basically click on the share on YouTube, and if you want to give it a like and let some other people know that we're up, and it's early still. It's only 10:40 here in the U.S. So I think a lot of people that I typically have on this stream aren't even ready to come on yet. Oh, how funny. Okay. Nicholas says, what do you think it will be in the days going forward, considering there will be a peak and presumably the drop tomorrow toward closing? You probably just joined. This is my son, by the way. But I mean, I think that it's going to get to $1 eventually. I don't know if it's not going to be tomorrow, or not likely. I shouldn't say it with so much certainty. I guess it's possible. It would be a new record, I think, with regards to how much it had moved in a single day. So I don't think it'll reach $1. Sorry, I got to reposition my chair. But I think that it's going to, and some others have called it, it'll probably get up to 50, at least 50 tomorrow. It will probably, I'm going to guess it's going to have about a 5-cent range after it hits 50. In other words, it's going to, work its way down and then work its way back up, work its way down. And at some point, it's going to probably just gradually start going back down to some type of a consolidation number. And, I'm going to guess that's somewhere in the 37, 38, maybe 39 range. I know that's a big range when we're talking about Dogecoin because we're talking about pennies, but that's my guess. So you'll have to tell me yours. Dogecoin video game, that would be awesome. Imagine, I've not done this, but you can already, from what I understand, use Dogecoin to tip people on Reddit and various other things. But yeah, it'd be cool if there was a game, a Dogecoin game, where you basically could earn Dogecoin, in a tournament or whatever, something like that. That's not a bad idea at all. I wouldn't be surprised if someone doesn't have that at least in the back of their mind, if not something that they're already testing in some way or another. I'm still holding. Hey, I think that's certainly a good strategy as far as I'm concerned. I'm holding as well. As I mentioned, Tyrell, I'm sorry, not Tyler, but Tyrell, I think it was probably before you joined, and thanks for coming on, by the way, but, I think it's equally okay because I don't get to decide for someone else what they do. I think it's equally okay, and we have one of our friends on tonight that kind of day trades it, if you will, with the single purpose mostly of increasing their holding of the coin, obviously with the intent that it's going to reach a significant level at some point and then maybe take a much larger profit at some point and put it somewhere where it's, where you don't have to worry about any volatility at all. I mean, if we can't forget the fact that Dogecoin has been number 5 and number 6, kind of going back and forth because it's just a few billion, and that's kind of funny even in itself, just saying a few billion, but it's been going back and forth between number 5 and number 6. So we're talking about the number 5 or number 6 largest market cap cryptocurrency in the world, bigger than Ford Motor Company, bigger than Barclay Financial or whatever it is, bigger than a number of other companies that have been around for, in some cases, 50, 60, 70 years, right? So I'm hoping that once it gets to $1, and maybe it has to get to $1.20, something like that, that it has basically been etched into the DNA of cryptocurrency, and there will be no looking back from that point. And I bring that up to say that, then the volatility is more like what we see, hopefully not at the same level as far as its price, but the same kind of volatility. Not what we saw this weekend, but the somewhat steady and expected volatility that we see with, let's say, Bitcoin or Ethereum, right? So if that ever happens, then I think that is pretty much going to solidify. In other words, Dogecoin to be a thing for the next decade at least. But I'm still holding as well. I would love to have an opportunity to get more at a cheaper price, but I'm in it for the long haul unless something drastic changes, something's revealed, something government comes out with some kind of regulations that doesn't make it really what it really should be anymore. Those kind of things, barring any of those kind of things, I don't see myself not investing in Dogecoin for the next 10 years if it continues to be a thing. And not only Dogecoin, as much as I'm really pumped about it, not to the exclusion of some of the other coins, if for no other reason to be diversified, right? I'll be honest, I'm not super diversified right now. I have most of my eggs, I'll be completely honest, in one basket with regards to cryptocurrency, at least. But I'm working on that, right? I mean, Bitcoin, I have every intention of holding some of that. Ethereum, Cardano, XRP. There was, people were talking about VET last night. That's possibly one to get into. But, my approach is going to be, at least with cryptocurrency, probably no more than about 10 or so that I would actually physically own. And then again, Coinbase, I think, might be a good way to be diversified without having to own the individual coins beyond, let's say, the 10, and owning or having a position in ARK's Innovation, ARKK, their ETF, which that's a stock basically, right? Or you would get that on a stock exchange, ARKK. As I mentioned earlier in the stream, for those that are new, you didn't hear it, but ARK bought into a large stake in Coinbase and sold quite a bit, or in dollar wise, they sold a good chunk of Tesla, but Tesla is still their single largest holding. So they're still very pro Tesla. Since I'm mentioning Tesla, and I've mentioned this every other night, I suggest that you look into NIO, N-I-O. They are a China-based electric car company. And again, this is just being diversified and not being only into one. I would say if I only could own one, it would be Tesla. I'm going to be perfectly honest there. But the attractive thing with NIO, and I talked about this a couple of nights ago, if you guys don't mind me digressing just briefly away from Dogecoin and cryptocurrency, but NIO is at about 31 or 32. Actually, let me pull it up if you guys don't mind me switching. I have it in my watch list, so I'm going to pull that up, and let's look at it for a minute because it will help me reference some of the numbers, right? So its 52-week high was 66, and it closed at 36 today. I got in, I think, at around 33 or 34, something like that. And but here's the real story is 66, 36, so it's almost exactly, not quite, but almost exactly half off, if you will, right now. But analysts that know a lot more than I do, that spend every waking hour looking at all these things, they've got predictions of $90 a share by the end of this year. I think it's up to 200 by either 2022 or 2023. So there's presumed to be a lot of growth. They are not the only electric car company in China, and Tesla is in China as well. But it's the largest, basically the largest population in the world. So there's probably no way that any one company is going to serve all the needs of China anyway. So there is room for competition. But NIO is not just some, low end, get billions of cars out there kind of thing. They primarily are in the luxury space for the most part. So they don't really compete with Tesla across Tesla's whole line. But I'm sure many of you know that many, it seems counterintuitive in one sense with regards to what we probably, those of us in the West at least, think of China. but they are a nation of, more and more people are becoming what would be considered affluent, at least there in China. So Neo, and then I'm going to be done with Neo, and we'll get back to our beloved Dogecoin. But Neo is, and I'll pull up the article maybe here in a minute if you guys want to see it. But they've worked out an agreement basically with, in essence, a gas station, right, for regular gas, all across China, to where you drive the car up in, I think, 2 minutes or so. It basically just switches out the batteries, completely automated. You drive up, I guess, on some kind of a little platform or something. You don't have to get out of the car. They just basically switch out your battery, your drained battery, mostly drained, I guess. Obviously, it wouldn't be 100% drained, or you couldn't even get there. They put in a brand new one charged. And each of those gas stations, what they're traditional gas stations, I think they said they can do 50 or 60 of those a day. And the interesting thing about this is the battery, as it turns out, is one of the more expensive parts of the car. So when these people buy the car, they don't actually buy the battery. So they own the car, but they don't really own a battery. And I'm assuming they could buy a battery later, but it makes those cars cheaper for them to get into, and then they pay a service. So it's, instead of software as a service, it's battery as a service, BaaS. Interesting fact, Tesla considered this concept years ago, actually, and determined for them that rapid charge stations was better, more efficient, whatever. But anyway, Neo is, in my opinion, something that you should look at. That is one of the stocks that I'm holding. Let's get back to the comments, because I know there are some now. VeChain, yes. Hey, and Damien, thanks. I think I saw you today sharing out some of my tweets. I really appreciate that. That's awesome. Sharing the love, getting the word out about someone else, I guess, talking about Dogecoin and other things. I can't tell you how much I appreciate that, but I also appreciate you mentioning VeChain. I am definitely going to be looking into that one, and want to know more about it. Charlie's also giving that a thumbs up. You guys are going to have to let me know when you buy some, or if you have some. And then I don't think we talked about this part last night. I'm curious which exchanges have it. I'm going to look on webull real quick and see if it's on there. That would be cool if it was. I don't find it, but do you guys know what the symbol is for it? Let me know if you do. Damien, I saw this today, Safe Moon. I actually did a screenshot of it. So let me look at my phone for a minute. So I took a screenshot of that because I'm also interested in it because of what I saw. So let me tell you this. I'm going to type it in the chat here. What I'm typing in is their Twitter account, because I think it's pinned to the top. They have a video of how to acquire SafeMoon. I'm also very intrigued by that because it's 0.00005 or something along those lines. Let me actually let me pull it up. I'm going to pull up SafeMoon here. Some people say it's a scam. So, I don't know. You never know. But yeah, see, it's pinned to the top. How to hold SafeMoon. I'm going to, there's actually audio with this, so let me turn it on. Let's just play it. You start. Oh, it's starting over. So from what I gather, you have to use, and I'm going to turn this off and I'll let it play again, I guess, but you have to download the Trust wallet, which I know is one of the wallets that's, I think, fairly popular. Again, I don't know a lot about Trust wallet, and then you have to do this pancake thing, which I guess is some type of a transfer. But anyway, I hope that helps, gives you some information. So it's at SafeMoon. Yeah. If you figure that out and do it, come back on one of the streams and let us know how it went. Doge over 40 again. No fair. You can look while I'm talking. I'm kidding. Yes, it's over 40 again. I'm going to guess that around 3:30 or something Central Standard Time, U.S. time, that it's going to have another little spike. We'll see. Maybe it makes it up to 45 during that sleep time when America's sleeping. You think my chart is stuck? Let's look. You talking about my webull chart? Let me look here and see. It's possible that it is. Let me refresh. You're right. I think it is. It has stopped. Let me just pull let me just pull it back up here real quick while I'm just talking. I live out in the country, so I have the best internet that I can buy, but it's not always the best. So it's still stuck. So I don't know if there's a oh, sorry. I know why it's stuck. Duh. So sorry. Yeah, I think it looked like it was stuck because I was on a stock, right? And the trading hours have closed. So there's no updating at that point. But now it's updating, you can see here. So you had me wondering there for a while, but it's fine. All right, I'm curious, how many of you are going to stay up all night and see what happens during, Europe and Asia and whatever, and other parts of the world that are waking up, as those of us, at least on this stream, that are in America, what they're doing. Oh, okay. Come on, guys. Let's root for the drop to 37 for rebuys. Oh, so, okay, Alexander. If you don't want to tell us specifically, then I guess give us a range. How many coins are you looking to get it back into? 1,000, 2,000? Or 1,000, anywhere between 1,000 and 5,000, or 100, whatever. But just to keep things going. But here's Tyler. Charlie, I downloaded Trust Wallet. It says BNB is not available for purchase. Downloaded BNB, and it says my ID is not valid. Huh. BNB, though, I'm sorry, I'm going to show my ignorance here, I guess, or my lack of memory. Is BNB the actual, what is that? Is that the 3-letter code for SafeMoon? Anyway, I'm going to have to look into that. I'm curious how many of you, this made me think of something else, arguably unrelated, but in a sense related. Have any of you used Voyager? I've seen all these, or a number of, people on Twitter like, hey, it's no good, but I saw an interview with that guy and Meet Kevin or whatever his name is, pretty well known YouTuber, that covers financial stuff. And, obviously they're going to put their best foot forward, but I'm just curious because Voyager seems to be like it may also be a good platform in some cases. It's US based as well, but I hear there's a waiting period. So I'm in the country too. Yep. And I mentioned this last night. I'm really, really considering getting the internet thing from Elon Musk. Okay, trying to get 2,900 to 300. That's good, man. Yep. Oh, Binance. Okay, so do you have to BNB? So are you saying Tyler that you were trying to get? Are you saying you downloaded Trust Wallet because you were eventually wanting to get SafeMoon, or you were just trying to use Trust Wallet to get BNB or Binance, or is that just kind of like a middle layer or piece of the ultimate transaction? I'm not 100% following, but it doesn't surprise me honestly on Binance because I can't get it at all because of where I live. Binance won't work for me. I'm sure that the coin maybe, or the token, is on other exchanges, but I will be up probably until daylight. It's normal for me. All right. Well, you get to watch these crazy swings then that a lot of us may not see. Okay, I see. You might want to look at Voyager. I'm not 100% certain that BNB would be on it. Oh, I can't use. Oh my goodness. What's wrong with New York? I mean, I know that, my goodness, it's like, it's supposed to be the financial capital, at least, of the United States, and it's amazing. Well, I'm going to, for a brief moment here, go to Twitter and just look what's, the more recent drops on the Dogecoin tag, and we're going to look at the latest ones out there instead of the top ones, and give some love to those that are putting stuff out there. Let's take Doge to the moon tomorrow. Yes, let's do it. So let's we're going to say all the yes. You guys, I'm a little self-conscious. If you think this is spamming, let me know. So I may need you to be my conscience. So I'd like to believe that we're, having a good time, and this is a good stream. So maybe some other people need to know about it. I don't know of any other way to get the word out. YouTube for a small channel doesn't really help me all that much if there's not at least something coming in. Did you guys see, for like the last couple of days, the post that was being and it's actually this one right here. Yeah, I knew it was something. So people keep sharing this, and I have no idea why, but this thing about a Discord server, right? And then you go to the Discord server. This one's a little bit different, but the one yesterday was saying that 1 trillion coins had been sold or something like that. I'm going to guess, I'm about to click on it, that I'm going to go to this Discord server, and it's going to say accept invite, and then I'm going to say yes, and it's going to say unable to accept the invite. It's pretty interesting that there's this many members, but I can't get in there. Probably don't want to be in there anyway, but I think this is spam, but I could be wrong. That's the joke. All right. 12 happy 420. Potentially sensitive information. I'm not going to share it then. Now, this is another little play on, or a little variation on, a meme that I've seen a lot today. Doge 420. Now it's time to buy. Okay, we're definitely gonna retweet this one out. Maybe they'll follow us. Buy and HODL. I'm just kind of playing buy and hold on for dear life, right? But along the way, sell a little bit so that you can get some more. I think that's not a bad approach either. Yep, Newegg says shoppers can now pay with Dogecoin. I already knew that. You can go to, we showed this last night. If you go to BitPay, which we talked about for the Mavericks and some others, you go to BitPay and Newegg is listed. You can also, for those of you that might not have been on last night's live stream, you can also use your Dogecoin and other crypto for that matter to buy Amazon gift cards. I'm going to pull up an article here in a minute about Amazon that I think you'll think is interesting as well. All right, so we're gonna retweet this as well, and then I'm gonna go to this article about Amazon. We'll love it. Okay, let me do it this way. Go to Dogecoin for 419. Where is the one about Amazon? I tried to get most of these, and then it's like I still don't have everything that I wanted to show. It seems like, oh, here we go. Yep. Petition calls for Amazon to accept Dogecoin after its price surge. Over 130,000 people have rallied behind the petition, and they're using the what is it? Anyway, more than 100,000 people. Yep. The Doge for Amazon accept Dogecoin payment method petition posted to change.org claims that Amazon is alienating many people who do not have a traditional bank account. Well, I don't know about that, but it's. I'm curious, you guys, how likely do you think this is? I know that Jeff Bezos, and it may have actually already happened. For one thing, he's stepping down as CEO. I think he's going to still be chairman of the board. He's obviously going to still be involved. He's, involved in competing against SpaceX and got a lot of other interest. And he's at least the second or third richest person in the world. I know he dropped down some, I guess, when he had his divorce. But I'm curious how likely you think this is. I know that he has not openly been a proponent or has made no statements with regards to him actually making any investment in cryptocurrency himself. So I'm not sure if he's a fan or not. I think a lot of people with his level of notoriety and stuff don't play all their cards, if you will, because they don't want to, and I get it, they don't want to have to deal with the judgment, right? Some people are going to think that's amazing. Others are going to think that he's crazy. So if you don't take either side, then you don't have to deal with it, right? That's potentially one approach. Okay. Yeah, I'm not going to stay up all night either, John. I'm eventually going to go to bed. But we've got a good crew here going on right now, so I'm going to be up for a while. We've only been live for an hour and 49 minutes at this point in time. I ran a test today, and some of you may have seen it, so I hope you didn't think that it was whatever. But I ran a live stream today during the day while I was working for about 5 hours, a little over 5 hours. Had background music playing with my other, I have two services that I pay a little bit for to be able to have copyright free music, royalty free music. One that I use called Upbeat. I like the songs that they have on there, but I got a lot of copyright claims on my videos, and some of the ones that have 4 hours of streaming and a good number of watch hours and all that, and that can impact my application to be in the partner program. So I don't want to get the copyright claims. And Soundstripe, I think, has a little bit better technology with that. So I ran a stream today using my Soundstripe basically playlist just right off of the internet instead of downloading the songs, because I don't want to have to go through all that trouble. And I'm waiting to see if I get any copyright claims on it. I don't believe that I will. And if I don't, I'm probably going to start a stream tomorrow. I won't physically be on it all the time. But what I can do and will do, at least two things. I'll have my webull screen up where you can see Dogecoin, how it's tracking and changing and all the things. The little candlestick and just the real-time update, and I'll be putting in comments and links and stuff from Twitter and all the things as I see it, and as I can take a little bit of time and put that in the chat. So it'd be awesome if you guys could even just have that live and playing in the background or something. That way I can get that watch time up. Let's be honest. That's one of the things that is keeping me from getting that next level, and it's just one way to do that. But anyway, regardless, if you can do it, that'd be cool. If not, I'm going to run it anyway, and there'll be some music playing. BNB to transfer, okay, to USDT or something on Bitmart, so you can. Oh, okay. Wow, it's kind of complicated, isn't it? Well, it's like, why do they got to make it? I mean, maybe they're just such a small thing that's just the only way they can make it happen. But if you figure it out, please let us know. I am very interested in it. Yeah. Charlie gets it. Thanks, guys. They want to keep the money on Wall Street. Okay. Yeah. Okay, here's Charlie's thought. Doesn't think Amazon will be moved by the petition. I don't think they'll be moved by the petition either. They may be moved by something else, but, I'm not even certain that change.org is legitimate, quote unquote. I don't even know how to qualify that statement, but I've heard some things that make me wonder if change.org is all that good a thing. But anyway, but if they see other companies doing it, they might. Yeah, so one thing that would probably move them quickly is, let's say if Walmart beats them to the punch, or Target, or maybe even Best Buy, some of those. My guess is that they probably already know how they could do it and probably how to ramp it up pretty quickly. They're pretty savvy, I would say. And so they probably already have it figured out. Walmart, for that matter, probably already has it figured out as well. They're just waiting. Probably don't want to do it, right? I mean, why would you want to do it? I don't see any reason to do it other than, only two reasons I can see them doing. Either they're going to lose customers if they don't, or they're going to gain customers if they do, right? Why else would they do it? Only other well, there's a third reason potentially, and this relates back to what I'm trying to figure out with regards to the Mavericks. I could see that if they were actually receiving the token, right? So in other words, if they actually got the Dogecoin into a corporate wallet or whatever that would be, that might be interesting to them, because that's obviously going to be better probably over time than them, taking the money. But of course, the other argument is they can just take the the dollars that they get and then go through Coinbase or whatever, and kind of deal with that at an institutional level and put money in Bitcoin, whatever. So I don't understand. I mean, if it helps them with marketing, if it makes them look like they're hip and staying on top of everything, all that, that's the only reason I could see them doing it. Surely that's the only reason the Mavericks did it as well. And it's great, right? Don't get me wrong. As investors, we need those kind of things happening, those catalysts happening, so that we can, so that things can grow, So, good morning, Aliska. How you doing? Are you ready for Dogeday? Let me see here real quick. I'm going to see what other articles I captured to possibly bring up for the day. Okay, here it is. So I found the article with the Dogecoin creator that I was talking about that I wanted to talk through. And I hope you guys don't mind. It's helpful or easier for me to pull up the article because I can't, prior to the show, take all the notes that it would be helpful to take and all of that. And, I can only remember so much. So I'm going to pull up the article and we'll go through, parts of it at least. All right, so the headline is Dogecoin creator defends meme crypto's supply doesn't matter for price. I knew that there was an M in this, but it's his last name. So co-creator Billy Marcus said Sunday that the inflationary nature of the cryptocurrency doesn't matter for price. So Marcus took to the Twitter platform to explain his rationale. He said that the whole Doge supply is fixed. Cryptocurrencies are infinite. New coins come out every day. In other words, new ones are invented, if you will. Hour, minute, and various parameters and various random reason people can point to that make them superior or not. And by the way, before I continue reading, one of the things that I understand about Dogecoin is that in essence, it is more efficient with regards to completing a transaction on the blockchain because it's like a minute. There's only a minute between each transaction, something like that, as opposed to Bitcoin and even Ethereum. It's a much longer period of time, and I guess that's what's helpful with things like BitPay and others. I guess they also kind of, as intermediaries, shelter you maybe from some of those transactional costs as far as time and even money, I guess, for the transaction. So Dogecoin was, whether intentionally created this way or not, and I mean, since it was created as a joke, I can't imagine that it was actually technically created this way on purpose, other than the fact that I think it is a variant of Litecoin, and I think Litecoin has basically this built into it, and Litecoin was created for a real purpose as opposed to a joke. So it lends itself much more to daily transactions that we would typically use the currency of the country that we live in, kind of thing. So new coins come out. Okay, those don't matter for price. Only buying and selling does, said Marcus. The Dogecoin creator said that the fact that Doge is valuable is ironic, and so is the fact that it attracts haters. Yeah, this is a repeat of it, but the reason why Marcus enjoys Dogecoin is because of irony, according to Marcus. But the reason why it has value, and this is the really important part of that, the reason it has value is just buying and selling. This is interesting as well. Wouldn't you really think that the co-creator would actually own more of this coin? But the co-creator of Dogecoin revealed on Twitter that he owns 120,000 Doge, worth around 40,260 as of press time. Doge has risen 6,800% since the year began. When was this? Yeah, okay. It seems like it would be worth more than that, but I'm not doing the math in my head. So anyway, I think, Billy Marcus, he is pretty vocal and, does quote, it seems like tweet, I should say, multiple times a day, in defense, if you will, in many ways of the coin. So on Sunday, he cautioned about tribalism. A community is one with people participating. Communities are healthy. Tribalism is people hating on another on anything different than them. Tribalism is unhealthy, said Marcus. I think that's a pretty good statement. I think I would probably tend to agree with that as well. Well, we have caught up with the comments, at least. You guys are going to have to bring something to me, or I'll just, continue to talk about some other things that I've got on my mind. But, we've already talked about where we possibly think Dogecoin is going to go tomorrow. I think it's hard to know, but I agree that it's probably somewhere in the 50-cent range. I also agree that it's likely that it will, probably, not because I want it to, but just because of the dynamics, patterns, all the things, it will likely take a dip at some point in time. And probably, again, I'm just only going to guess. If we look at a 24-hour period from a U.S. Time, since that's where I live at least, it's likely to end the day probably somewhere under 50, if I was just going to guess. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see what happens. I'm going to pull up this article here about Coinbase, because we've talked about it a little bit already. But heading is buy and hodl or hold on for dear life Coinbase stock. Analysts say it's a generational opportunity in crypto. I think we all know that the highly anticipated Coinbase IPO took place this week. It was last week now. It was the 14th of April. I don't know why some details I remember and others I don't, but I do know that it was the 14th. Or it might have been the 15th, so maybe I don't remember, but 14th or 15th. The Coinbase analyst Loop Capital Markets, Kenneth Hill, initiated coverage of Coinbase Global with a buy rating of 394 price target. The analyst cleverly calls it a buy and hodl stock. Hill calls Coinbase more of a customer acquisition play than a cryptocurrency volume story. The company's success or failure will not be predicated on how much it trades next quarter like a traditional exchange. It will be driven by how effectively it is able to add customers and gather assets on its platform over time. I mean, it's a given, right, that they're going to have transaction fees, so they need new customers in order to grow. Acquiring customers and assets is important for the company during the early days of crypto adoption and could help justify the valuation of Coinbase. Possible risks for Coinbase include growing competition, lower fees, and loss of interest in the cryptocurrency market. I think that last one is the least issue, but certainly the lower fees and competition, always a thing. Again, like we've talked about already, someone like Robinhood or now webull, and webull may not have ever come out if it not had been for Robinhood. So Robinhood at least gets some credit for the disruption that they brought to the industry. But, with companies like Robinhood and webull and others that are not charging anything for much of their services, then, that puts a lot of pressure on an organization like Coinbase to change their fee structure if they're going to acquire new customers. And I'm going to guess what they need or what they want more of, not necessarily need, but they probably want more quote unquote retail customers. They probably don't have as big of a problem attracting institutions and large corporate multinationals, all the bigger companies. Hill thinks the risk are outweighed by a generational opportunity in crypto, the large customer access Coinbase has, and its strength in product. The potential to shape the crypto economy could create a defensible position for decades to come. The 394 price tag is based on a multiple of 20x on fiscal 2022 and fiscal 2023 revenue projections from the analysts. There are others, and I don't necessarily have them or links to them, but there are other analysts that are suggesting that it could end the year at 600. So, of course, it would be an amazing buy right now if that's what happened. And the only reason I guess you even look at this as opposed to some of the cryptocurrencies directly, like we've already talked about, is more for diversification, because there will be individual cryptocurrencies like, Ethereum, because you can still get it for a reasonable quote unquote price. Cardano, XRP, Dogecoin, of course, and a few others that I know are up and comers that I just don't know a lot about yet. You're looking at, 200, 300, 400% and more on an annualized basis on some of those. So that's just as good, if not better, than a Coinbase at 600, and you're not having to pay $300 a share or a coin for. So, but at least maybe and I checked, it's on Robinhood. I'm not sure actually if it's on webull. I'm going to actually look right now. I believe it is. I think I already added it. Yeah, I added it as one of my watch list stocks, and it's there. So you can actually buy and sell this on webull as well. Might be something you want to day trade. Got some interesting swings there, which we already talked about a little bit. But I would not have wanted to be those that bought it at 429. Now, if they're buy and hold, they'll likely get their money. They just won't make as much as they did if they had bought it here. Now, they probably already done some dollar cost averaging and bought more. And that would be my guess. Charlie, I think you're right. I mean, I have no doubt that there are, just based on comments that I've seen, tweets that I've seen, all those kinds of things, I have no doubt that there are and again, this is nothing wrong with that, but there's, people out there that are looking to make $1,000, $250, $500, and they're perfectly fine, and they actually never, ever get into it again, and they may. There are a lot of people, I'm sure, that own some Dogecoin that are not near as into it as those of you that are on this live stream, or that are looking at Twitter 8 hours a day, or all the different things, right? So there's a spectrum of people that own Dogecoin with different levels of interest, different goals, different levels of understanding of the industry, and all of those kind of things. So I would say, my guess is at least it's a very diverse community, and no, it's actually not a bad thing at all. So, yeah. Well, Aliska, I'm curious. I'm going to ask you a question if you're still there. I know that you found my live stream, I think, first when I was, and I'm still live streaming some on Facebook. The last about week or 7 days, I've streamed live exclusively on YouTube, because I'm trying to build that aspect of my brand, quote unquote, if you will, or whatever. But I've been on this 100 day journey to live stream every day for 100 days. Covered all kinds of or a number of other things, not really talking about finance. And when I got involved in Dogecoin, it intrigued me so much. I'm like, okay, this is what I'm going to stream about for a while. I don't even know how long, and let the other stuff rest for a while. And the audience certainly seems to be broader, honestly, on this topic. So it's actually kind of worked out well. But I guess the question is, you obviously keep coming back. So, I can only assume that this is interesting to you. For the others that are on the stream, I went through a certification program for a life coach. It's called ULA. And went through that certification, got certified, and so I built a Facebook group with coaches that wanted to learn and understand how to use technology. YouTube, honestly, I push YouTube a lot. Try to encourage people to create their own YouTube channel. All those things, email marketing, a lot of different aspects of how to stream. All that, and covered that, for about 80 plus days, and then, or probably more like 79 or so, because I think literally the last 7 or 8 streams have been about Dogecoin. But anyway, so I kind of made this shift, and I have no doubt that I will reintegrate at some time the other things that interest me. But if there are other of my life coach friends that are watching this tonight, I want to welcome you as well, and hopefully you're okay with this divergence, if you will, from some of the other topics I've talked about in the past. But so Aliska is fascinated with Doge. Yes. Okay. Well, that's great. It's good to know. Obviously, you wouldn't be here if you weren't, but I just wanted to kind of say that. I mean, I signed up for a couple of different things, and I haven't had time to do them yet with like a free Bitcoin, or not Bitcoin, sorry, but blockchain, blockchain kind of like online course and all that kind of stuff. So I'm equally intrigued, and I know without a shadow of a doubt, there's more to learn than I will have the time, or in some cases even energy, to learn. So there'll be a ceiling of some sort where it'll be like, okay, I've reached the limit of what I can either retain in the brain or have the time for, energy for, need for, whatever. So I haven't gotten there yet. So I just talked to both of my daughters. And then one of my sons sent me a text today, and he's like, I want to start a Roth IRA. And I'm like, well, when you come home from school, we'll talk about it. You do a little bit of research about it before we're back together, quote unquote. But I talked to my youngest daughter again today. We've already been talking some about the cryptocurrencies and others, and I'm like, okay, so how much do you want to invest? Because she's like, I want some money, I want a job. She doesn't need a job, she's too young for that. But I'm like, so how much? And so she started out at $5, and I played out a scenario with her, and I said, so okay, so let's just assume that you can buy Dogecoin at 30 cents, and let's assume that if you were to sell it at 50 cents, what would you make? And so she told me how to calculate it. I used my phone to calculate it, but she told me what to do and everything, and got it perfectly right, and basically figured out what her profit would be. And at one point, the profit was when she was going to spend, quote unquote, $10, basically the profit was, I think selling it at 50 cents was $8, and she wasn't super thrilled about that. She's like, well, what if or that was for $5, I think. And then she's like, well, what if I put in 10? I'm like, well, let's calculate that. And, it was basically double, right? So she's like, well, 16's better than 8. So she decided she wanted to invest $10. So I guess my whole point in saying all of that, and we've mentioned it previous nights as well, I think this, and it's not the only thing, but this is a great way, I believe, for those of us that have kids or maybe grandkids or whatever, and have an opportunity to introduce them to this. It's a great learning opportunity to understand risk and reward and profit, loss, investment, all those kind of things. Yes, and we'll get back to those things as well. I think that I honestly can't see myself not streaming about Dogecoin, for example, and the broader cryptocurrency market, and equities to a certain extent as well. It's really kind of in my blood, in the sense that, as a finance major, although that's been many years ago, but numbers has always been kind of a thing for me. So I've renewed that interest. It'll probably continue to be there for the foreseeable future. But, I have talked numerous nights on my streams as well about in essence, the concept about live streaming being in many ways easier. And even my young daughter kind of sees this easier than recording a video and then posting that video, because there's this expectation that if you took the time to pre-record it, that you've gone through the editing process and done all those other little intricacies, where when you go live, there's this, I use the term grace, where people, it's allowable to make mistakes, to itch your nose, all the different things, because it's live. It's raw, if you will, in many ways. It's unscripted for the most part. I mean, there are people that go live, and I'm not saying this is bad. This is not me. But there are people that do live streams with teleprompters and all that. And a lot of times it's obvious. And so for some, that may not be something that is well received. So whatever. But so I guess saying all that to say that, I have a number of interests, and I'm going to have to figure out a way to kind of cover them all. And I know that my audience, although not necessarily super large, is varied. I've got, again, a number of life coaches that are in the Facebook group that I have. I think a number of them have come on over, like Aliska, and followed the YouTube channel. And I keep, trying to convince more of them to do so. That's one thing I guess I'll mention too, and then I'll get back to the topic. But one thing that Facebook arguably has done really, really well is they've figured out how to keep people on their platform, because the notification process and all of that is just super solid. I don't think really the notification process through YouTube works as well, and maybe it's because they don't want to be as quote unquote intrusive. I don't know, but that is honestly a real struggle. So anyone else that's trying to build a YouTube channel, I'm sure that you'll experience some of the same kind of, if you will, frustrations. And then I promise I'm going to be done, because now I'm returning back to some of the things that I talk about almost every night. And I think this will interest some of you anyway, even though we're talking about Dogecoin, is the fact that, again, Facebook is not really evergreen. So with a YouTube channel and a live stream like this may not be quote unquote as evergreen, but at least with a YouTube video, it lives on forever. And if you have the right metadata in your video and that types of things, people are going to be finding it, watching it, using it for months, years, decades potentially. And Facebook doesn't have that kind of thing because it's not naturally a search engine, whereas YouTube is the second largest search engine in the world, and Google is the first top search engine in the world. And I think everyone knows that Google owns YouTube. So just an interesting dynamic. So I do appreciate you, Aliska, coming on over, and I'm glad that this is another one of your areas of interest. So we're up here now to 41, actually, and we hit here for a little while 42. So it's on another, looks like upward kind of, generally speaking, cycle. So that's cool. And I mean here, at what would it be, 10:07, at 10:07 p.m. and now it's 11:43 p.m. So an hour, almost 2 hours ago, it was down to 39, and now it's been as high as 42. So, I'm curious. I'm going to guess. I could be wrong by the time that I end this stream. Not sure yet exactly when I'm going to end it. Have something to do with how long you guys want to hang out. But I'm going to guess that it's going to probably get back up to 42. And then overnight my time, maybe it hits the 45 mark. We'll see. It may hit an all-time high. Well, it would have to go up to 46, 46.4652 at a minimum. So we'll see. I think you guys are asleep, which is perfectly fine. I'm going to take a water break here. So another thing I'm doing, just to digress a little bit, I normally in this stream, I let everybody know, just because I think it's a really cool tool, what I use to stream. It's called StreamYard, and it's actually down in the lower right. You can see the link there, and that's free. You can stream up to 20 hours a month, up to 2 destinations. You can actually have, with the free account, you can have up to 6 people on a conference call, not a stream, but a conference call, unlimited, and you can share your screen. A few things like that. So it's similar to Zoom in that respect, and it's free. And with Zoom, you can only get 40 minutes or 45. I think it's 40, and then your conference is over. With StreamYard, it could last 24 hours. So as long as you've got good internet, stable internet, that kind of stuff, you could actually have a 24-hour long conference call with someone. and completely free if you use this link. If you then at any point in time decide to upgrade to one of their paid plans, you'll get $10 off. Again, if you never plan on streaming more than 20 hours a month and never need to go live on more than 20 or 2 destinations, you may never need anything other than the free plan. So check it out. I'll also mention just real quick a few little quick advertisements if you don't mind. If you don't already have a Robinhood account, for those that are that don't hate it so much that you're still willing to use it, and or if you don't have a Webull account, I've got the link for both of those in the description. And if nothing else, with Robinhood, you can get up to 2 stocks, up to 3, I believe it is. If you share your link, right, and people sign up, you can get up to 3 stocks for a total value of up to $500. And then right now, Webull, you can get 2 free stocks. You get one when you sign up. Don't even have to put money in your account. You get one. And then you get the second one when you put, $100 or more into your account to fund it. You get a second stock, and those 2 could be up to $15 or $1,850 or $1,500 or something like that. So, not a bad deal at all. And Webull, like Robinhood, free transaction or no commissions. The only thing, 2 things that I'm not so happy about with Webull, but then there's a lot of other things that I like. Is you can't buy fractional shares of stock. You can buy fractional tokens or for fractional coins. So if you're mostly doing cryptocurrencies, it's perfectly fine. So that's one thing, no fractional shares, as opposed to Robinhood where you can. So if you wanted to buy Tesla or Apple or DocuSign, PayPal, a lot of these stocks that are multiple hundreds of dollars a share, and you don't want to buy full shares but partial shares, you can do that on Robinhood. You can't do that on Webull. But another thing we've heard tonight, which I can't substantiate, but I've heard it enough that it must be true, is that Robinhood somehow, generally speaking, costs more to buy the same coin that you could buy on Webull for. Alexander, I think it was saying a penny difference. So that adds up if you're buying thousands of coins or whatever. So Webull is, I think, where I'll transition, where it supports the coins or the stock that I'm wanting to buy. So if I'm wanting to buy stock and I'm buying a whole amount, in other words, full increments of that share price, then my thought is I'll probably do that on Webull. I still have a TD Ameritrade account as well. The way I funded my Robinhood account initially was to transfer. I basically cashed out the stock that I had in TD Ameritrade. It was underperforming. It wasn't losing money, but it was underperforming. I wanted to invest in a different sector anyway, Dogecoin, cryptocurrencies. So I sold that, transferred the money to my bank account, then at the same time transferred money from my bank account into Robinhood, and then bought my first set of coins of Dogecoin back in early March. So that's been kind of my journey. I've literally only been serious, if you will, about cryptocurrency and Dogecoin since, again, early March. So it's been just over about a month and a half. But I'm, I read and I study and I just dive in. So I'm not saying I got it all figured out, but I'm way down the road because of the amount of time I've put into it at this point in time. So. Hey, Charlie, I'm glad to know that you're still alive, or not alive, but awake. I'm glad you're alive too. But you gotta you got to give us something to talk about. So one of the first nights that I started these live streams, I don't know what was going on. I guess I just had a perfect storm, and it'd be nice to it kind of kept me going, kept that energy going, but I had about 41 people, which is, again, for the size of my channel, really nice. But we went for 4 hours, and that it took the 4 hours to get through all the comments because they just kept coming. And so that was a really cool night, but this one's just as cool. We're on the, we're just hours away from what, again, could probably be most likely going to be a historic day for Dogecoin. And there's obviously just a wealth of information out there. Some of it probably not helpful. A lot of it is. So there's no shortage of opinions or personalities with regards to Dogecoin and cryptocurrency market in general, and philosophies on or aversions to day trading, let's say, or not day trading. You got all different types. The thing that I think you'll find, or hopefully you've already found, is I'm not too interested. That chair. I'm not too interested in telling you how you should do things. Just want to be a sounding board, another person that you can get a thought from that hopefully will help you before you pull the trigger on something. My price back in March was in the low 5-cent mark, and that's why I'm so sick, honestly, at times when I allow myself to think about it, because I bought, at 5 something, and then I bought a little bit more at 7, so that brought my average price up to, I think it was 5.9, right? So 0.59, almost 6 cents, but still in the fives. And again, that fateful day that I thought it would be a good idea to, and it still worked out okay, but it didn't work out the way I wanted it to. At least I didn't lose money ultimately, but I was like, okay, I'm gonna sell, I'm gonna buy in a dip and get more. And again, hindsight is 2020, and so basically, I've said this multiple times, and I have no hesitation in saying I panicked, and I'll describe what I mean by that. I sold it and watched it just keep going up, right up to 48, and I'm like, is it going to stop? Is it going to set a new consolidation, level, if you will, a base level of something in the 40s, and now I'm going to have to buy back in and have fewer coins than I did to begin with, kind of thing. So at 35, I bought back in. And again, where the hindsight part is on that, it's been since then, at least in the high 20s. So I just didn't wait long enough, but it's okay. I'm back in, and it did teach me something. So, you can't win them all, but I'm still in. So that's kind of what happened. Yeah, you're live. State parks accepting crypto. Are you asking or telling me? So I'm not aware of any that are, but it's possible that they are. We just pulled up not too long ago, John, a screen that showed some of the merchants that are accepting it, and I think that in some cases, it seems to me like the only thing that would be required, honestly, and I'm probably simplifying it, for just about any merchant to be able to accept cryptocurrency is they just need to engage the services of BitPay. BitPay is basically a Visa card, from what I kind of understand, but it can also be tied to, maybe they tie it to, I don't know if it acts as a wallet or if it has a way of pulling from your wallet, but you basically pay BitPay. In a sense, it goes through that with whatever cryptocurrencies they support. Dogecoin is one of them. The merchant, from what I can tell, gets US dollars. So it would seem that literally almost any merchant could fairly easily begin to start accepting Dogecoin through BitPay. And I think there's a couple of others. Crypto.com, for example, they do really good in their marketing, but I see all the time posts that say don't use them. It's it's a scam. I've tried to contact them and I can't get any answers. And I've actually heard that as well. Just FYI about Coinbase, there was a tweet from someone that said that they were trying to get in touch with someone from Coinbase and couldn't. So, with these massive companies, customer service isn't like it used to be. And some of that just has to do with the size of the organization just being so crazy. Yeah, exactly. I didn't lose on it. I'm actually already, today was a good day, even owning it at 35 cents a coin. So it's just going to take me either longer or I'm going to have to buy more. I was always going to have to buy more anyway, but buy more than more was going to be, if that makes sense, to achieve some of the goals that I modeled out. So we'll see where we go with that. Guys, hang tight. I'm going to look at something real quick. And, I'll just pull this up. We can look at this for a minute with me up here as well. So, we started kind of going, down a little bit from the 42 there. So now it just pegged 42 again, and then it went back down. There's 42 again. So it's testing that 42. It's really fun looking at this bid and ask go back and forth, right? So you got a bunch of people asking, wanting to, I guess, right, in essence, sell at 42 and something, and you got all these people bidding or offering, something less than that. So it's pretty interesting. It honestly does kind of boggle the mind, or my mind at least, that how this even works. I mean, just imagine how many trades are coming in per second. Request to buy, request to sell, and then this is just for one token, let alone all of the others. So maybe for a little bit of divergence here, we're looking at Bitcoin, and again, this was it opened at 54. I guess that's really an open within a 24-hour period, and the low was, it's about a $200 spread, so that's not too bad between the open and the low. But the high was at 425, or I'm sorry, 55, 425. So if you got in on the open and sold before the high, you could have made some quick money. This is another one I'm just going to mention for a minute. I mention it in almost every stream, and I'm sure every one of you know about Ethereum, but it was just a few days ago up to 2,500. And so it's off 460 something. if I'm doing the math right. 467, whatever it would be. Anyway, it's off quite a bit off of the 500. That would have been another one to that would have been nice to have bought over the weekend. And you'd have to wait, of course, because, yeah, it hit a new high last week. But look at this. This is crazy. 187 is the lowest that it was over a 12-month period, and it's been as high as 2,500. Manny is back. I don't know if you've been silent or if you came off and came back, but Charlie says his cost per coin based on mining equipment spent back in 2014 is less than, okay. So and I know you talked about this last night, is the total of your current portfolio, sorry I can't say that, from mining, or have you bought some as well? Either way, that's an incredible price. This is kind of like, and actually this, what's it called? Not sun moon, but whatever that coin was that we were talking about earlier. I think their coins are even less than that. Safe Moon, yeah. Uh-oh. My light's on a timer and it went off. You going to keep holding, Shane, after it skyrockets to 1? I am. I'll be honest, there's a possibility that I might try again what I've talked about in more detail, some nights over others, but this experience that I had trying to take some profit just to reinvest wasn't going to pull the money out. I'm more interested in the money that I can make when it's at hopefully $10 a share, not a coin, or $5 a coin. But if it got up to $1, I'd be tempted to take some profit so that I could get some more, right? And I'd wait for a dip. It's hard to know what that's going to be. I mean, I think the biggest increase we've saw in any one day is maybe 30 cents, something like that. So it's hard to know, but it's not out of my mind to think about I might do that. So what about you, man? It hit an all-time new high. Let's pull it back up. So I was under the impression that the 52-week high was 46. So if you're talking about Dogecoin, but it's possible that it did. But I believe that the 52-week high is 46. I don't think it's quite gotten there, but you're right. It is on a decided path up right now, at least upward, 42. So that's cool. Yeah, I see 43, Manny, but I think the quote-unquote all-time high, 52-week high is 46. Nonetheless, it's still good. It's still very encouraging to see that. Yeah, Safe Moon. I definitely got to check into this Safe Moon. Only thing I know is it's really cheap right now. I don't know a lot more about what why the project was created, what problem they're there to solve, that kind of thing. So be interesting to find out more. So Charlie, I'm just curious, and I know you talked about this a little bit last night as well. Why did you stop mining? Was it just not really worth the time and effort? I think obviously not you, since you did it. You know you have a perspective from experience, but I think the uninformed just kind of assumes they can just turn a computer on, have the right software on it, let it, earn the money in their sleep. But so, John, you've been quiet tonight. Are you studying, preparing for a test? You must be close to getting out for the semester. So, Manny, you got to tell me. So, you asked me the question about one. So, if it gets to one, what are you going to do? You're going to hold? You're going to sell a portion? Going to take the fifth? That's okay too, if you want to take the fifth on that. All right, while you guys are thinking about your next comment or question, I'm going to look at a few of the other articles that I pulled down that maybe I haven't brought up yet. What do you guys think about Facebook? How many of you have looked into Facebook's, I guess their quote unquote currency is Libra? That's funny because, yeah, it is today now. I mean, it's the next day now, so you've got a presentation, so I hope that goes well for you. You probably should just focus on that, obviously. I completely understand. Yeah, I understand. I was watching another live streamer that today that was, had served in the military, and when he got out, he started doing some mining, and he showed his home, or just built the computer from scratch, bought the components and stuff, and had 2 GPUs in it and all the things. I know, and I've talked about this in other streams, and maybe just here real quick, I'll pull it up. NVIDIA is another equity, if you will, that I think is something you might want to take a look at if you're interested in things other than investing in things other than cryptocurrencies. It's wow, 600 okay, so it took a hit of $22 today, but they've made some announcements that make them look very, very promising. Of course, they're not as far off of their 52-week high as some of these other companies that we've looked at, but they I just read that the UK, I guess the government, if you will, of the United Kingdom, is looking into their acquisition of ARM But they've basically said that they were going to basically compete against Intel for CPUs, in the data centers. And Intel has about 90% of that business right now. But NVIDIA is like, okay, we want some of that business. So it's obviously expensive at $614, but I think there's some good gains ahead for them. But again, it's expensive. Huh. That's cool. So your wallet was a quote unquote software wallet, I guess. And I'm curious, Charlie, was it you or I'm sorry, I don't remember, but one of you guys tonight had mentioned that you were waiting on your wallet. I don't think it was you, Charlie, but someone was saying that they were waiting on their wallet, a hardware wallet, if you will, to come in the mail. I'm real curious about that. With the, where you can have the phrase and you can restore it if you need to. Anyway. Charlie says that he deleted his Facebook account. That wouldn't be necessarily a bad idea if I wasn't so entrenched, if you will, in helping others grow their social media and that type of thing. I'm not so certain that I wouldn't consider deleting mine. Yep, Manny, I think that's a good idea. I completely concur. Makes a lot of sense. Wow, 6 GPUs. That's pretty that seems pretty intense to me. I think we're going to go for about another 8 minutes. That'll take us to 3 hours. We're at 2 hours and 52 minutes right now. I think things have kind of, I think we're all mellowed out a little bit. And, it is going to be interesting. However, what happens in the next couple of hours, I'm just not certain that I can function tomorrow and keep it going. But just because I like even numbers or whatever, whole numbers, I'm gonna hang here for another 8 minutes or so. So if you guys got other things on your mind, then let's talk about it. Okay. Did you or can you or you? What company did you use? And I'm curious, Charlie, if you don't mind me asking, is this hardware wallet generic in the sense that can you store multiple tokens, multiple coins on it, or is it a single one? And does it run off of a battery or something like that? I'm just curious how it stores the data that's on it without possibly losing it somehow. I know that you said you can have a phrase where you can recover that information from somewhere else, so that's good. But that's pretty interesting. We got a few more people on, so I see that we've got someone from Twitch. I am streaming to Twitch tonight and actually D-Live. I've just started streaming to D-Live, so there's probably no one there that is aware of anything, but we've got a number of people there on YouTube that I'm not that are being silent, which is perfectly okay, but more than happy and would encourage you to join in the conversation. We got a few more minutes before we shut this one down, but we are getting ever so much closer to the 4,000 watch hours that we need. Again, that's one of the kind of two components that we need to get into the YouTube Partner Program, and you guys are making that a reality. That's why I've doubled down, honestly, on spending the time to do this. Obviously, first, it's fun and interesting and intriguing and an education, quite honestly, to glean from all of you as well. But, at the same time, it is helping me get to that goal of the 4,000 watch hours, so you guys get a lot of credit for that. I will mention one other thing. I haven't mentioned it earlier, and most of you have probably also heard it. I haven't figured out yet how I'm going some of the mechanics of doing this, but it's definitely for the YouTube community only. But I'm giving away a couple of these Flex watches, and my son can't enter. He's commenting there. I'm about to speak to it, but I've got this one. And let me show you another one that I have. Very similar, but it's black. Look up flexwatches.com. I won't spend the time to tell you about them, but I think they're a cool company. I'm going to give these watches away. They're not like $1,000 watches, but hey, free is free, right? Dude, you better study for that. You just like John, you better study for that test, and it's fine. I'm glad you got it running in the background. You need to go play my playlist too in the background while you're sleeping. But yeah, I hope you make 100 plus. Can you get extra credit on that test that you're taking? Me and my son Nicholas, we've talked about. We actually did a couple of quote unquote video podcast. Use StreamYard to do that, and it was really fun. He's super busy with school, so we haven't been able to do that again. But maybe this summer, you guys, I'm going to bring my son. He's a freshman in college. I'm going to bring him on as a guest. He has no problem sharing his opinion, and that's not a bad thing. Like father, like son, I think in that respect, although he's got his own thoughts, but study for that test. Hey, Ryan. Hey, let me know, man. Are you new to the stream? Your name looks new to me, but I apologize if it's not. But what are your thoughts on this new age money and ways to make money online with NFTs? Hey, I'm getting some interesting question. Coins and all that. Pretty different scene since you were young, I assume. I'm 21 and it's still strange to me. Okay. Very good question. You came in just at the right time because I was about to shut down the stream. But let me try to unpack some of this. And again, I'm 54. I haven't said that yet. I've been streaming for 7 days about this topic and basically a whole new audience, and haven't talked about my age just because I haven't, but I get it. A lot of it's different. Part of my story, and I'll make it somewhat short because we got some people on here as well that have heard it, but I want you to hear enough that it's meaningful. But about 10 years ago, I got out of the stock market completely. I was a finance major, so I had originally thought I would go to New York and become a stockbroker. Didn't end up doing that. Ended up in IT, but kept my interest in the stock market. And of course, when Bitcoin came along, there weren't a lot of people that thought it was great. So in many ways, I just tagged along with those that thought it was stupid and just kind of discounted it. There was just so many unknowns. It seemed insecure, all kinds of things. So I just forgot about it. I'm like, whatever. 2008, 2009, for the most part, got out of the stock market because of a lot of the things that happen there. Now literally just in March, somehow Dogecoin just kind of started coming into my peripheral vision through social media or whatever. Started studying it, watching videos, reading all the things. Came to the conclusion that it was legitimate, had some real promise. And so I bought into Dogecoin at about 5 cents, 5.7 cents a share. I've actually gone through the process of modeling out in an Excel spreadsheet, if I own this much and hold it this long and it reaches this price, what would be the exit amount if I decided to just cash it all out. And so it looks very promising. I've also said last night, and I hope, by the way, you subscribe and turn on notifications so you know when I go live again. But I've mentioned this as well, that my advice is to have a plan A and B and probably even C. But I think that cryptocurrencies have a lot of promise for someone your age and even someone my age. And you just gotta, I would say, be diversified. Don't go and put all of your money into cryptocurrencies. I would say invest in some solid stocks. First of all, determine how much money you're willing to invest. Some of that, especially that's going to be in cryptocurrencies, you honestly need to be willing to accept the fact that you might lose it or a good part of it. Obviously, you would never hope that would happen, but there's more risk, but there's also tons more reward. There's no other asset class or asset in the world that I know of that can produce the kinds of returns that cryptocurrencies can. I mentioned this last night on the live stream that 9,000 millionaires were made last week, through Dogecoin, and that's just Dogecoin. There were probably millionaires that were made through Bitcoin, Ethereum, and a number of other cryptocurrencies. But diversify if you're going to get in the cryptocurrency world. Diversify even if you're going to get into stocks or equities. And I think it's a real thing. I think it's legitimate. I think 10 years ago, it was a little harder to come to that conclusion. I think that there's enough information out there today, although, and actually there's more information than you could possibly even consume. So you want to be careful about the sources that you go to and try to focus on the ones that have a reputation for being solid, if you will, and all that kind of thing. But here's one other thing I'll say, and hopefully this doesn't feel like rambling. I hope that I'm answering your question in a way. I think that it says something when someone like Elon Musk, which is the richest person in the world, gets behind something like Dogecoin. Now, you could argue that, well, he's the richest man in the world. He could afford to make a huge mistake and all of that, but I think he also cares about his reputation, about his ability to understand technology, understand and embrace the future, to be a innovator, someone that disrupts the norm. And Tesla's certainly a disruptor. SpaceX is a disruptor tonight. One of our friends here was talking about, that they were, I think it was Manny, talking about, they couldn't wait until SpaceX went public. And yeah, that'll be a great investment. So 21 is a perfect age. I have 2 sons, and one of my sons is bought into some Dogecoin, and his only regret is that he didn't buy more. But I'm honestly glad that he didn't buy more, because there are other things that he needs to do as well, right? You still have to pay for rent, pay for car insurance and cell phone, all those other kind of things. But what you can do certainly is quote unquote sacrifice and not buy the coffee or the junk food, if you will, at the restaurant, or at the gas station, all those things, and then once a month, just have money directly going into Webull. I probably would say Webull over Robinhood, although I use Robinhood somewhere or another, just to have it automatically investing. So let me look and see. Pretty different scene since you were young, I'm assuming. So first of all, what makes you think that I'm not young? I'm kidding. I've already shared my age. So let me talk about NFTs for a minute. So NFTs are really, really, really interesting. I would suggest that you, if you're not already familiar with Gary Vaynerchuk, or Gary V, as he's famously called as well, look him up. Google Gary V, and I would consume a ton of his content. And he recently has started talking about NFTs as well. Mark Cuban has talked about NFTs at length. Tom Brady has started a company with another organization, and he's brought in all kinds of big names from Apple and Spotify and other athletes. And then Greg Groskinski, or however you say it, basically the tight end, that used to be the tight end for the New England Patriots, followed Brady, I believe, to the Buccaneers. They won a Super Bowl together. Again, he started a company actually before Tom Brady did for NFTs. NFTs are going to completely revolutionize a lot of things. I think there's going to be a renaissance for musicians and artists, but it extends way, way beyond that. But for artists, content creators, that type of thing, it's going to, ensure that they get more of that creation in perpetuity. So I'll give you one example, and then you'll have to tell me if I'm actually over answering your question. But imagine in the traditional world, if you're a painter, I'll use that example. You work with a auction house. We'll use Sotheby's or whatever, or art gallery. They sell your painting for you. You get a percent, they get a percent, and then that's it. That's the last, as an artist, you ever see of it. With an NFT, you make that initial sale, you actually get more of it than, because the middleman has been taken out. You don't need a quote unquote auction house, or you don't need a art gallery, because it's digital. And oh, by the way, you could have a physical version of it as well that goes with the digital version. But with an NFT, proof of ownership is there, so that can't be forged. You could actually sell limited editions of it, so you could have one of 10 of them, right? That's limited edition, painting, piece of music, any number of things you want to think of. And then obviously the person that gets one of 10, they got the first one of it. So there's things that could go with that, extra features, all of that kind of stuff can be done through the non-fungible token. It is basically a form of a smart contract. And so, Ethereum and Cardano, that's why you would also arguably want to have coins. I keep saying stock because I'm not only in cryptocurrency, I also invest in equities or stocks. But Cardano, XRP, Ethereum, all that smart contract stuff, that is going to completely revolutionize every aspect of business, and not to the exclusion of artists, creators, musicians, athletes, all the things. So yeah, NFTs are going to be big. More and more, tools are coming out where the common person that really doesn't know much can mint a NFT and then sell it. I mean, Mark Cuban is actually curating apparently a bunch of digital, NFTs, and basically has a virtual gallery where he's putting his stuff on there, and then some of it's for sale, some of it's not. So I hope that answers part or most of your question. Runs on a battery. Cool. Okay. I'm definitely going to have to look into this hardware wallet thing. Thanks, Charlie. Yeah, I haven't seen the link either. Hey, do you mind sending it to me as an email? Shane at trammel.info. I'm putting it in the, oh, nope, that's not right. Sorry, Shane at trammel.me. That's my email address, Charlie, if you want to send it to me, and then I can share it in the comments after the live stream is over. YouTube's weird because the chat, when on the replay, doesn't show up as comments. It shows up as the live chat, and you can either have it on or off, depending on what you want to do, which I think is crazy. I mean, I want to be able to go back and comment on the chat, but I can't. So, and you can't comment in the comment section until after the live stream is over and it becomes, quote unquote, a regular video, if you will. So, okay, Ledger Nano S is the name of it. They have others as well. Just search the Ledger wallet on Amazon. Okay. We'll look into it. Engineering professor never gives extra credit. Well, pooey. Unfortunately, yeah. Oh, well, you'll make 100 anyway, right? I'm even older than you, Shane. Hey, it's hard to believe, right? I got gray beard and silver and all the colors of age in my beard. Hey, Ryan, you're awesome. Hey, I am going to ask one other huge favor of you. You'll see up in the top right where it says Shane Trammel. That's my Instagram. But if you would go follow me on Twitter, that would be awesome. One of the ways I'm finding that does help bring, kind of bring an audience into the stream is I'll typically post on Twitter as well. And Twitter has been a huge, and I'm sure you know this, a huge tool to get the Dogecoin message out there and to drive all of this interest. So I'm ecstatic that you were able to join us tonight, and I'm curious. Maybe you can just even give a thumbs up. I'm assuming that you probably found this through Twitter. That would prove my point if you did. Might meet Elon on Wednesday. My dad works as a locksmith, and he got a job at SpaceX launch site. Dad says he's making me so I can see what it's like. Now, Manny, you live in Brownsville, right? You were the one I think that mentioned last night that did you run into him at the gas station or something like that? But my son, by the way, he's on the stream tonight, although he's studying. There's one of our other friends, I'll just say that because I can't keep up with all these names, but one of our other friends that works for SpaceX. See, I remember some of the details. I know that he works in Hawthorne, California. And of course, my son studying engineering, I told him about it. And he's like, do they have any internships? And I'm like, well, I mentioned it. So I put the word in, but I didn't get anything back. So, okay, thanks, Charlie, for sending me the link. That's great. And Nicholas, what in the world are you doing up at 12:30 studying? You should be in bed. I'm still fathering my son from a YouTube live stream. Oh, man. Anyway. So I'll also post like I mentioned, I'll post the link in the comments when I end the stream. And by the way, you guys, I've mentioned this a couple of times, but if you decide later or whatever, if you come back to this video, or honestly, probably just about any one of the videos, I try to provide enough information in the description where you can find the different social media platforms as far as how to connect with me on there. It'd be great if you only did one thing, or if you only did two things, it would be, subscribe here, which most of y'all have. Turn on those notifications and then follow me on Twitter. That would be amazing. But so Ryan, if you're still on, I'm curious, do you have any Dogecoin at this point in time? If not, are you looking to get some? And if you don't have any and you're looking to get some, do you have a account on Robinhood or webull? Webull, by the way, you may already know, but Webull has announced that basically they've already started rolling it out, if you will, by waves to allow people to sell or buy and sell Dogecoin on their platform. But tomorrow, Dogeday, they're going to be making it available to everyone. So if you have at least two free options that I'm aware of, and there may be others, but with Robinhood or webull, you can buy and sell your Dogecoin or any other cryptocurrency that are on those platforms, for that matter, for free. No commissions. So that's pretty cool. I mean, again, I've mentioned this before, but I think Robinhood gets credit for disrupting this whole thing, quote unquote, democratizing, the ability to invest in stocks and cryptocurrencies and all the things. So Robinhood's definitely got their issues, but they get the credit for, I think, starting that whole thing. I think what I'm going to do is just for a moment, let's get back onto Twitter and let's maybe look at some of let's see if there's been some new ones here. So again, it never ceases to amaze me how creative and how willing people are to spend their time to do all this stuff. Now, this is actually a company, KuCoin, and I know this is one of the platforms that some of you guys on here have used before. I have not used it yet, but I think I'm at least going to follow them. And let's look at this. So they're celebrate Dogeday with KuCoin, 1,000 Doge to give away. Follow, which I did. We're going to retweet this. You guys might want to do the same thing here. I'm going to put I'll put this link in the comments here in just a second. Retweet. So let's retweet this. Retweet. We're going to like it. I don't have an account with them, so we'll see. Follow, retweet, quote, and reply with hashtag. Okay. So we're going to do that as well. Oh, okay. Quote, reply. Okay. I don't know if there's a difference. Is there a difference between quote and reply? Anyway, okay. Tweet. And this may have to do this as well. That's a lot of work, isn't it? Anyway, wish me luck. I wish you guys luck. I'm going to go back here for just a minute to the screen so that I can give you guys this link. And if you want to, at least, you can go enter in as well. Okay, so there's the link. I'm guessing you should be able to click on it and go to it. So let's go back to Twitter and see what other interesting things we have. I'm going to go back up to the top here. So we're still at 41. Oh, wow, look at this. Another cool, the man, the myth, the legend. So many creative people. I'm going to cut and paste this back in so we can let a few other people, and I don't even know why I'm doing it. It's almost 1 o'clock, but we'll see if a few more people want to join us. It's always good to obviously build a community, and maybe some of these people, if they don't get to join us tonight, will come back another night. Typing this tweet, that'll push Dogecoin past 50 and straight to Mars. Hey, we're going to skip the moon and go straight to Mars. You know, it's interesting because Elon said the other day in an interview that I saw, in the interview, of course, could have been months ago, but he was, just talking about how he was a little bummed that he would probably never get to see, or never get to participate in the ability to go to Mars. So anyway, he's probably right. But you can't do everything, right? Thing about Twitter too is you're never sure how many of these things are legit. But Dogecoin is the hottest coin and will go nuclear tomorrow. You very well could be right. We'll jump on that bandwagon and quote the tweet. Let's just do this for a couple more, and then we'll come back. And because unfortunately I can't see the comments and do this, this is the one area where I want to improve my live stream. I want to be able to see the comments regardless of what I'm showing on the screen. In other words, like a floating window that I can have over to the side or hide or whatever. Doge Army, huge profits, having a good time. Doge haters, huge FOMO, and then in between, can't stop talking about Dogecoin. All right, this is the last one we're going to do. All right. Well, we've stayed up with the comments, so we do have some new people joining. I'm assuming some of you just now joining or coming over from Twitter, so want to welcome you. We've been talking about Dogecoin now for 3 hours and 21 minutes. I had said I was going to stop at 3 hours in, but we still people have joining, so we'll continue the conversation. Going to need you to help us out with that. Let us know if you have any Dogecoin right now, what your goals are, what you expect is going to happen tomorrow. I can pull up the, where it's at right now. It's fun to talk about what we think it's going to get to tomorrow. A number of the folks that have been on the stream, most of the time, I think the consensus of those that are at least sharing their opinions, is somewhere in the 50-cent range. So, Charlie, yeah, you're the one that's on Qcoin. Okay, it's allowed here. Yep. But you're waiting to get verified. So once you get that, then I guess you'll be able to get, or are you planning on, do they have a wallet, or would you be able to transfer if you buy the Dogecoin on Qcoin, is the process or the way you would do that is then transfer that into your wallet, your hardware wallet. And then if you wanted to sell it, I guess you would do the same, transfer it from your hardware wallet into Qcoin or something like that. That's the one thing that I'm honestly I don't really understand how that would work. But if you're just now coming over from Twitter, just want to welcome you. Thank you for coming. I've been talking about how impressed I continue to be with the creativity and the time that people are willing to spend to promote Dogecoin, put out the GIFs and the videos, and all the interesting things, the polls, just so many things. It's pretty incredible. So, and we still have a have someone on Twitch, you might want to come on over to YouTube and join us there. I'm going to type in the comments the link to YouTube because it just might be helpful. And as much as we love all the platforms, YouTube is where we're really trying to build. So I just typed in the comments the link. That link actually just brings you over to YouTube. If you're on a desktop, like a desktop computer, it'll prompt you, which is kind of cool, and you can actually just subscribe right then and there, and then it'll bring you to the channel. If you don't want to subscribe, you can just hit cancel. It'll still bring you to the channel. And then right there, you should see the ability to connect to the live video. We keep having people coming in, which is awesome. We're actually now, I think, at our top level of participation. So if you're just joining, would love for you to just give us a shout here in the chat. Let us know that you're here, and what do you think is going to happen tomorrow? Well, it's not actually tomorrow. At least if you're here in the U.S., it's already here. It's 12:47, at least here Central Standard Time. It's 12:47 a.m. So Dogeday 420 is here. It's officially been here for 47 minutes, at least in Texas or anywhere where it's Central Standard Time. So it's actually pretty exciting. Can't wait to see what's going to happen. I'm eventually going to go to sleep and then wake up at some point in the morning, and we're going to find out. I'm going to let this just show for a little bit while I look up something on my computer. I got to actually look at my calendar and see what my first meeting is so I can know how long I can sleep. Okay, good. So if you guys will hang, and I won't hold this against you if you depart. I'm going to put a banner up here real quick so you know that I'm going to be right back. I just need to take sorry I have to say it, but I'll just say taking a break. Be right back. I'm sure you can come to your own conclusions on why I need to take the break. So I'll be right back. All right, I am back. I'll take this little ticker off of there. Wish I could have that where it's scrolling the price of Dogecoin. But let's get back to the comments. We've got some new ones, and thought I had while I was taking that short little break is it's interesting to think about the thought of what would it take. In other words, how much more amazing would Dogecoin have to be with regards to performance? It's, depending on the day or even the hour, fifth or sixth in market cap amongst all the cryptocurrency in the world, that possibly could reach number 4 tomorrow. I doubt it can actually reach number 3, but could definitely get to number 4. What else would it take for a writer from Yahoo Finance, for example, which says that Dogecoin is not even going to exist here in essence in the near future, or a hedge fund manager that still thinks it is quote unquote a joke. I don't know what it would take. It's interesting to think that through. I do know that people even like Mark Cuban, which apparently started out thinking of it more as a little bit more interesting than a lottery ticket, has come to a different opinion of it. So that's interesting to me to think about. Yeah, nature does call. But I'm back. In the event that we do have a few new people here on the stream, I think maybe some of the most of the people that are here are those that have been on most of the time. I'm going to pull back up because it's really kind of related to what I was talking about just now about the rankings, because I want to pull it up so I can use it as a frame of reference, if you will. So, as I was saying, Bitcoin obviously is number one. Who knows, it may stay number one forever, or what would be forever for most of us on this stream. I don't know. Ethereum is a distant second, and of course that means that everything else is a distant whatever it is, third, fourth, fifth. But as it was mentioned earlier in the stream by one of our friends here, Dogecoin is not that far behind XRP, and XRP is not performing, at least right now, all that well, right? It's down 16%, almost 16.5% over a 24-hour period. Over a 7-day period, it's down 12%. It's, you look at this line, if you will, and, it's generally speaking over that period of time, 7 days, obviously, because we looked at the percentage going down, whereas Dogecoin is going up. Look at the year-to-date percent. It's 7,000, which is just mind-blowing. This is another reason why, look at the difference, right? Not only can the common man, if I can use that term, buy Dogecoin even at 40 cents, take that along with the percentage increase, assuming it continues to perform like that. Look at this. This is just anemic, right, compared to Dogecoin. And oh, by the way, you got to right now have $54,000. Now, honestly, though, that's gone down And the last couple of hours, let's look at that here in a minute, but that's gone down because I think it was back up to about 57,000. So at least on a fractional basis, honestly, if you want to have some diversity, if you will, or some, if you want to have a couple of different kinds of coins and that type of thing, and hedge one against the other, might be a good time to get into some fractional shares of Bitcoin. Hard to know. It could continue. It could continue to go down during the next couple of days, or it could get back on its way up. It had been trending up, but now as I look at this, if this is the most recent price and it looks like it is updating, it's down, maybe around 2,000 from its high today. Ethereum, as I mentioned, is down 400 and change from its high. And anyway, so the whole point was to say, where does Dogecoin have to be on this list to garner the approval of all of the naysayers? I have no idea, but it's an interesting thought. I'm curious how many of y'all are like me and have some kind of a spreadsheet, maybe not just for Dogecoin, but have a spreadsheet that's like, okay, I have this many coin at this average price, and then, a couple of incremental additions to that amount, adjust the average price, and then a point where it's a selling point, whether it's $1, $10, whatever, at that average price times the number of coin that you've accumulated, that represents one of maybe several exit points, and maybe not a complete exit, but a point where you take a significant, profit. I've mentioned it, so I know you guys know that I have one, but so we're not too far off. We're probably another couple of hours, if I was a betting man, as they say, until we may start seeing a upward upward movement on Dogecoin, up from where it's at, in other words. And then, while we sleep here in the United States, kind of on an upward trend, and then potentially, even though, today, 420 is so highly anticipated, it still may take a while for all of that, all of the work, if you will, that's gone into that to start kicking in. But it's going to be, I think, at least, it's going to be pretty amazing. What I am going to do, because we're far enough in to the stream, that if they, I'm gonna look at one other thing, and then I will be right back, and I'm gonna look at the comments as well. But I want to look and see if the video that I ran today, again, it was 5 hour, the stream, that I ran today with the music, if it has a copyright claim on it yet. It was really intended to be an experiment, and I'm just gonna, I guess, delete it if I get a copyright claim on it. Or I may just delete the music from it, because there wasn't really anything on there but the music, because I didn't talk at all. Yep. I did get a copyright claim. How funny. Very interesting. Well, that's not going to work out, which is a shame. Huh. It's only one. You guys may or may not be interested in this. I'll let you just follow along. But I got a copyright claim on the stream that I did, and it's only for a few minutes. So it's like one song, I guess. And so the action I can take is to say, mute the song, and then say continue, I think. Mute. And let's see if that gets rid of the copyright claim. Anyway, I'll come back to me here and we'll see if that actually does what I need to do. But so Charlie has a spreadsheet for Doge, so I do as well. Great minds think alike. Well, I guess that means, unfortunately, I'm not going to test the waters of playing music in the background, which is kind of a bummer. Or I may just play the music and then mute it again, mute that song, mute whichever ones come up. Because I think what I'm going to do when I end this stream, I'm going to start another one that's just going to be my screen, so that I can see if it hits some amazing new level while I'm asleep. Yeah, and they make it a bummer, Charlie, because technically, again, I pay for this, and especially for live streamers, I can't download all the songs that I'm going to play for a live stream, because I may or may not know, obviously, how long the live stream's going to be. I just want to be able to basically start a playlist that's just almost infinite, and that, I have that with the service. There's playlists that have just tons and tons of songs. I just want it to go from one to the next, because I don't want to take the time to do all that. But anyway, anywho, well, I think that it makes sense to go ahead and just say good night for now. I do want to say, to everyone, whether you're watching this live or if you're possibly watching the replay, I do want to say thank you for watching this. I will come back later and put up here a playlist where you could, if you want, go watch some of the other videos that I have in the playlist for the 100 days of live streaming. Again, today was day 90. I think it's looking like we'll continue to go beyond the 100 days, most likely, and continue to try to build, this community here. And you guys are a part of that, and I do appreciate it. I hope you have an amazing day. I hope that that Dogecoin treats you well over the next days, weeks, years, and I do hope, actually, to the extent that you want it, I hope that, again, whether you're listening to this live right now or if you're watching the replay, I hope that Dogecoin makes you a millionaire if that's something you want to be. And that would be awesome. And yeah, we'll talk to all of you again tomorrow night, or we'll also have a stream going on during the day. I won't be able to have FaceTime with that all of the time, or maybe not any, but I'll have the live stream running where the screens are, showing what things are going, and some people will come and watch, some won't. But if nothing else, that way I'll be able to capture history. I'm sure history is going to be made. All right. Good night.